Welcome to Fight Night. Bored and annoyed.
I don't think you're going to get much fight out of me. Okay, I just like the movie.
Welcome to a beatdown then, because it's happening.
Yeah, I'm just going to be cowering in a corner, be like, you're right, but I liked it.
Yeah, welcome to Bored and Annoyed. I am home at the movies.
And I'm Jackson.
And this week we are discussing the spoilers for Aquaman. If you haven't listened to our spoiler-free episode that came out earlier last week. And we're also discussing Mortal Engines, the Mule, and what was that World War I?
Oh, yeah, They Shall Not Grow Old.
Yes.
Yes.
So, stay tuned. Bored and Annoyed.
All right. Well, any news to kick it off with this week? Or we saw a lot of movies.
We saw a lot of movies.
We're going to see a lot more.
Yes. So. Let's see. What do we got here? So, okay. So Drew Goddard, our guy who did Bad Times and Cabin in the Woods.
Sweet.
He is still moving forward with the Sinister Six movie that he had been slated to do way back with The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Sony
is it like animated, like the new one?
Well, I don't think so.
Oh, I know it's probably not, but otherwise I don't care.
I mean, I think the real question is what is Sony going to do here? Are they going to do like a Venom, Morbius kind of thing, and combine all those guys, or are they going to do it in the MCU?
I suppose they can do either, depending on. I feel like we'd know if it was going to be in the MCU.
That's true. That's true.
You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be some shitty, fucking terrible.
But also, like, what's the point of the Sinister Six if they're not trying to fight Spider-Man? Otherwise, they're just another superhero team, except they're just bad-ish guys.
So it's like a Suicide Squad movie.
They're the Suicide Squad now.
Of Marvel,
Of Sony.
Of Sony/Marvel.
Yeah. So... I don't know. I love Drew Goddard. I think he's really talented.
He's great. Even you didn't like the latest one as much as I did, but
no, it's still good,
I mean,
though.
Just as like, something different to see.
And he's smart. He's so smart with his scripts.
Right.
So I want this to work. I mean, and based on Into the Spider-Verse and what else do we have? Homecoming. Sony might be turning in a new leaf. They might. I really don't want to jump the gun on that. Yeah. Well, they did do so.
Although they are doing that Brightburn movie too.
That's Sony, huh?
But that's not the same division. There's a specific division.
Right.
Sony can have their one-off good movies.
This is true.
Randomly, like Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when it comes out of there, unless you want to count this animated Spider-Man, that's the thing.
That's the thing, is this actually did come out of that.
Yes.
But I mean, it's the first.
I don't want to count it.
I mean, it's the first good Spider-Man movie that's come out of this side of the Sony production area
since Spider-Man 2.
Since Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
So
that's a fact, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, and what you said about it being a different section of Sony, it's absolutely true. The Sony Marvel section is run by Amy Pascal and Avi Arad,
and it's their fault.
All right, that Spider-Man found himself in the situation. Speaking of Amy Pascal, she.
Segue?
If you want to call it that. She actually had some quotes on, fans have a lot of concerns about now that Sony has done really well with Venom as far as box office.
Oh, are they going to steal back Spider-Man?
Because the contract was only through Far From Home. 2 Marvel movies, 2 Sony Spider-Man movies. That was the entire contract. So the real concern is, are they going to take them back?
Yes.
But she went out and said, we are going to do everything within our power to work with Marvel. The thought of Spider-Man not being at Marvel makes her want to cry. And then she goes on about this sort of I don't know, it's almost like backhanded complimenting Kevin Feige, because he used to work for her as an intern, basically.
Okay.
It's like, I remember when Kevin was, getting coffees for all of us. Now he's just, he's doing great things.
All right. Well, okay. I think they have to take him back if Venom 2 is successful, because you've got Venom and Spider-Man.
If they take Spider-Man back, I am not seeing that movie. I don't care if it's Tom Hardy meets Tom Holland. I don't give a shit. I'm done.
I'll see it.
Okay, fine. You can be the one who reviews it on the podcast.
Yep, I'll be like, it's the best Spider-Man movie ever.
I sincerely doubt that. Sincerely doubt
Hey,
that.
you never know.
There's no fucking way. I mean, come on.
You never know.
No.
Miles Morales in his first live action movie in a Sony
Tom Hardy kills
property.
Tom Holland.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. You're writing it. See? You've already begun writing it. It's going to be great.
Oh God, let's not even entertain.
All right,
the
can we
thought.
get through this you Marvel shill? Can we get to the next
Okay.
Marvel
All right,
story?
Did you see the Sonic poster?
It looks weird as
What the
hell.
fuck is that?
Yeah, we're going to show you an outline of the character.
Yeah.
This can only bring bad social media buzz.
Right.
Nobody's like, maybe it looks really cool if you see the fucking thing.
I don't think he's a character you render realistically.
Yeah, he's got like hair or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hedgehogs have hair.
Right, but Sonic doesn't.
You're right.
Sonic's like shiny and sleek and badass.
He should be stylized. He should be like, I don't know, dare I say, a minion.
Ooh.
And I would not throw that out there.
You hate those minions.
But that's what Sonic is.
It's true. I would agree. But who knows? This is going to be a dark DC style interpretation. Can you imagine a dark version like Dr. Robotnik is capturing little cute animals and just torturing them in his lab and turning them into Frankenstein monster robot creatures?
Right. Isn't that the thing? It's
That's
like
the plot.
You fight, you get the rings, and then at the end of the rings, there's a animal inside of a robot.
No. So all the robots you're fighting throughout the level were animals. And when you bounce on them, you like free them. And
So
then at
are
the
they
end of the level, you fight Dr. Robotnik, and then you free a bunch of animals out of this thing.
Are they piloting the robots? Are they the robots?
I think they are the robots.
Man. So this is already lending
twisted.
It's already lending itself to, a rated R version.
Yeah, hard R.
Yeah. Those
Now, if they actually did that, that would be amazing.
It would be awesome.
They would never do that, but that would be great.
Oh my God, you imagine like an 80s excessive gore level.
Oh, it'd be perfect. It'd be like, oh yeah, well, we know that the kids like Nintendo, but here it's Sega.
Dude, that is in brand.
Yeah.
You remember that from like the 90s?
Well, their
with
thing was always speed. Like Sonic is really fast.
Oh, wait.
It doesn't make for a better game.
That was PlayStation with Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, it could have been.
That's who they were like.
But either way, same deal. You've got like the little kitty Mario Zelda shit.
Yep.
Like not here. Sonic the Hedgehog. He's a cool dude.
It'll be
wears those sweet red shoes.
Right.
He's badass.
It'll be the new Marvel versus DC.
Sega versus Nintendo.
Sega
Wouldn't that
versus
be
Nintendo.
amazing?
Actually, that would actually be really
The
cool.
only problem is, kind of like Spider-Man, Nintendo now uses Sonic in their properties. So now you've got like Sonics and Super Smash Brothers.
That's true.
There's Sonic versus Mario, like Olympic games. Which
they're so stupid.
What sport does Mario beat Sonic in? He's like a chubby plumber.
The long jump.
I don't think so.
But he's got a lot of performance enhancing things going on.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Mushrooms. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but Sonic has those sweet shoes that make him go even faster.
That's
He's got
true.
all sorts of shit.
I'm sure those aren't kosher.
Yeah, no.
What else do we got? Okay, the Netflix Marvel characters. Apparently, in the Netflix and Marvel deal, those characters cannot be used for 2 years.
Yes, I read that.
Yeah.
So it's like the Conan O'Brien deal, only it's the Marvel characters instead of... Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I guess say goodbye to all those characters for
what?
at least 2 years.
We need a break. That's just fine.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm good with this.
Yes, that's a great idea, because by the time they come back, they'll have had some time to like think of something like really intelligent to do.
You know what Marvel should just do? Is just the second that Punisher and Jessica Jones land, cancel them. Like the day that they are streaming, cancel the shows.
That's what they're going to do. I mean, not the day of.
Right,
but
they're going to do it 3 weeks out like they've done for every other one. But I mean, they should do that just so they've got an extra 3 weeks that they can get the character as soon as physically
I see
possible.
what you mean. Yeah, you can, yep.
Let's see, what else do we got?
Isn't it funny that everything's just like we like these things for like the art and the enjoyment out of it, but it's all just a fucking corporate shell game business.
It is
dirty fuck. Yeah, which I get it. I mean, and I'm glad it's out there because it's why we get these things.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting to think about. Like, there's a boardroom deciding everything.
Yep. It's really, it's strange. It's cool when you get to see these transparent moments like this Netflix Marvel thing. That's one of my favorites. Is when the House of Cards falls down and everybody
gets to see it.
Yeah,
the curtain has been. Yep.
Yeah, it's amazing. Let's see. We got Mandalorian casting.
Did we talk about that already, or did we just talk about Pedro Pascal?
Yeah, we just talked about him.
Who else is in it?
We had that Gina Carano, the WWE one. Apollo Creed himself. Mr. Weathers.
Carl.
Yes. I actually have to pull up the article because I'm actually forgetting one of the big ones. I think it was like Gary. No, not Gary Shandling. He's dead.
He's been dead.
he's been dead. R.I.P. By the way.
Yeah, that's a late R.I.P.
Yeah, that is. I like him though.
Yeah, he was great. You don't like him. You liked him.
I did.
Oh.
Well, since I didn't find the right article right away, but I found another one. Dark Crystal. Did you see those pictures for the prequel?
I saw one picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, is it CGI? Because I didn't look closely. It was a little picture on
they're puppets.
They're puppets.
Yeah, they're keeping them puppets.
So they're doing it. Because I was going to say, if it's CGI, I have no interest whatsoever in watching it.
Yeah, I mean, this has a crazy cast behind it. Natalie Dormer is in it.
Dormier.
I
have no idea, but I think that's it.
Done.
I just want to correct you on names whenever.
Alicia Vikander.
Okay, I
Mark
like her.
Strong. Toby Jones. That little nerdy guy.
Yeah.
Helena Bonham Carter. Mark Hamill.
Okay.
Andy Samberg. Simon Pegg. And what's the Anna Taylor-Joy. And Taron Egerton.
Oh, geez, that's quite the cast.
Yeah.
I like that Anna Taylor-Joy quite a bit.
It's insane. So...
back to Mandalorian quick.
Yeah.
Nick Nolte.
He was the big one I was forgetting.
And then you've got Werner Herzog.
Oh, yeah.
Giancarlo Esposito from Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
And the last one I see here is Omid Abtahi, was in the Hunger Games movies.
Oh, okay.
And I believe he's been in some other stuff playing like a nerd. But he was also in the show Damien, the unsuccessful A&E Omen show that was just...
That does sound like an unsuccessful A&E show.
Well, it's funny because they did Bates Motel. Yeah. So they were like, oh, what else we got?
Yep.
And Bates Motel was really good.
Yep. What's an established IP that everybody knows that we could do a prequel to?
You could actually make a really cool Damien Omen show. You have him growing up and he's the politician or something.
Right.
He could do it. No, but that's not what it was. He was in his 20s, a drifter. It was just, it was bad.
Should have, no, whatever.
He didn't know he was Damien.
I don't even want to give this any credence.
This was 3 or 4 years ago.
Talking about it in the news.
Yeah. They canceled that, folks.
Yeah. What?
Hey, did you hear, guys? They canceled, A&E canceled Damien.
But yeah. So what do you think about Nick Nolte and Carl Weathers?
I don't know what he's playing, but I love Nick Nolte.
He's insane.
I'm a big fan of Nick Nolte.
Yeah.
Big fan. Now, I actually like the first Hulk with Eric Bana. Not the first, but I guess the first modern Hulk,
right?
With Eric Bana. I think I like that movie a little bit more than most people do. I don't think it's great.
Right.
I really liked it when it came out, but I thought Nick Nolte was pretty awesome in it as his crazy dad.
He was creepy.
Yeah, he was pretty good. So, hopefully he plays some sort of a fucking asshole in this.
That would be perfect.
Yeah, but.
I'm excited to see Apollo again. I'm wondering what he's going to be. Probably just some sort of, rebel kind of scummy guy.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Usually is.
Yeah. So I'm excited for this series. I'm basically just plugging anything Star Wars because there's a giant vacuum of Star Wars news, I feel.
There is.
Which has actually been kind of nice.
It's been great.
Yeah. Nothing to piss anybody off.
Yeah. Hopefully next year isn't as bad or big of a letdown as last year's film was.
Right. But Dark Crystal, going back to that.
Yeah, no, sorry. Dark Crystal.
Anything, did you see the original?
I saw it when I was a kid.
Okay.
I watched that and Labyrinth, I believe. Kind of the same. Yeah. But I was never a huge fan. But I'll watch it.
Right. I watched that. I'd never seen it growing up. So a friend lent it to me a couple of years ago, and I was surprised at how not great it was for being this classic.
Yeah, well, that happens a lot.
Yeah.
You ever go back and play like an original Nintendo game that you think was good, and you play it and it's just like, oh my God, this thing's fucking broken. Like it stinks.
Yep.
You know, I mean, that's how it is with movies sometimes.
So, I mean, the thing is the art style, the art direction on Dark Crystal was always cool. So seeing something in that aesthetic again,
they could make it good, I'm sure.
Yes. Right. It was all the story. The story was nonsensical. It was ridiculous.
Sounds like Alice in Wonderland.
Kind of, yeah.
Like a really dark, fucked up Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, but I guess I'm kind of excited for this. I hope that they have some nice 80s like fantasy.
Well, the cast is pretty great there.
Yeah, the cast is amazing, which that alone makes me think that the script is probably at least decent.
Pretty good.
Yeah. I don't think you get that much talent in it if it isn't at least decent. So, but I believe that's the last of the news.
All right. Shit you watched this week. What'd you watch?
It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice, cheery holiday film. Christmas film. I'm sorry, people. Christmas.
One of my favorite holiday films, Christmas movies.
God damn it, Alex. We are not PC here. I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, classic.
Yeah, one of my favorites of all time.
God, I probably haven't seen that in 20 years, though. How often do you watch? Like, are you like a Christmas movie guy? I don't know. Like, every year, do you make sure you watch like a couple Christmas movies?
I'd say the one that I watch religiously is probably Elf.
Okay.
It's the most lighthearted. You can be.
It is funny.
I don't care what mood you're in. You will get in the mood for Elf.
Yeah, if it's on, I turn it on.
Yeah.
Right, it's one of those. It's a very TBS, TNT movie.
Yes, it is. God, you could just see the ads now, can't
the
you?
little thing in the bottom corner.
Oh, God.
Yeah, very funny.
Yeah, oh, God. But It's a Wonderful Life. It's an amazing movie. What can I say?
I need to watch that because I don't remember anything.
Like when he's working at the drugstore and the old man puts the wrong pills in the bottle for a customer. He's like, "You put the wrong pills in here, sir. You didn't mean to." And he's like a little kid, and he's like, the guy's like hitting him because that's the thing that was done back in the days.
Pay. That's how it used to be.
And you're just like, and then the old man like breaks down when he's like, "You didn't mean to hurt anybody," and like it's just. It's a heartbreaking movie. It really is. I mean,
it's an emotional Christmas tale.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's full on. It is like, it's like the Grinch story, but like, he's not like, oh God, why am I blanking on not the Grinch story, the
Scrooge story.
Scrooge story. Yeah. He's not like Scrooge in that he's always been a dick, or he's been a dick for a long time.
Yes.
He's just having like the worst fucking time of his life. And
everybody can relate to that at some point.
And he's just, this guy who just keeps on trying to do the right thing. And no matter what happens, it just doesn't work out for him. And I love it. And there are certain things where you're like, wow, I really see where like, what is it? The Weatherman or Family Man? With
yes,
Nicolas
Family
Cage.
Man.
Family Man is essentially It's a Wonderful Life.
Right.
And then there's even the bit where like he goes to the grave and he finds his brother's grave, but he wasn't there to save his brother who fell through the ice. And so it's very like Back to the Future 2-y, going to oh God, the McFly grave.
Everything's
there.
Fucked and you have all this guilt because right.
It's fantastic.
Maybe I'll watch that this winter.
It's melodramatic.
Okay.
I mean, that is something you have to go in.
Is it as dramatic as Gremlins?
I'd say more so.
Just by a
smidge.
hair? Yeah.
Just by a smidge. But I love it, though. I love it.
Yeah, I haven't. God, it's funny when I haven't been, living with the family for a long time, so I don't watch the Christmas movies. Like,
right.
I probably need to pop one on.
Yeah, I would. I mean,
know there's a new Kurt Russell one on Netflix. Have you watched that? The one where he's Santa. Did you start it? Did you try?
I started it. It's for kids, man.
Oh, okay.
All
right.
It's for kids.
All right. God damn, I wanted to kind of see that. I love Kurt Russell.
Right.
Which is probably why you tried watching it.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll dodge that bullet then.
Yeah. But that's it. I don't have anything else for shit I
All
watched.
I've got are shows.
Okay.
I've got 2 shows. So the first one, this is funny because I haven't even finished the fucking Wisconsin one, Making a Murderer. I haven't even finished season 2 of that. But there's another one now called The Innocent Man, who's kind of the same deal where these people are locked up for a crime, and it's all about like the system and how they, you know, basically the priority is to bust someone, not get the right guy. It's to get the conviction.
Yes.
And yeah, it seems these guys were fucked. Actually, in fact, where I'm at now, it's been revealed that, you know, some people were fucked. So yeah, it's pretty intriguing actually. It's pretty intriguing. Like, basically, they gave confessions, but you're not getting the full story of the confession.
Okay.
Very intriguing. So
Okay.
I'm excited to finish that.
That reminds me, little piece of news. It's not super new, but Michael B. Jordan is actually shooting a movie called Just Mercy.
Okay.
It's based on a book. I actually read this book about this black lawyer who, during the I think late 70s, early 80s, started going down into the deep South and taking on like death row inmates.
Okay.
And re-looking at their cases because a lot of them were just given, you know, like they couldn't afford a real lawyer.
Well, that's the problem. You get shitty defense, and you're screwed.
And so he found a lot of them that these people either had mental issues and should have actually been in like a mental institution, or he found full-on innocent people.
Right.
And it's also going back to what you said, you know, they have to catch somebody because the system is designed like, judges go up for re-election. And so a lot of them are like, look how many convictions I have. Look how tough on crime I am by the stats of how many people I put on death row, blah, 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 blah.
Or the DAs who, and the detectives. I mean, there's so much pressure on local police forces, especially in small rural communities where it's like the whole town knows everybody's fucking name.
Yeah.
And if you don't find a guy, you're a fucking loser. So, like, honestly, I think more times than not, they probably think it's the guy. They're like, okay, well, if we need to fucking, you know, cut some corners here, we know it's the guy, or they think they know, then we're going to do it.
Right.
You know, so.
Well, yeah. And, you know, I mean, like I said, a lot of it can come down to, I want to keep my position. Right. I think I'm a good judge. You know, what's one case out of the hundreds that I do every year, or dozens, or whatever it is.
Right.
You know, so I get it. I get it.
But yes, so that's one. Now, the one I'm really excited about that started 2 weeks ago again is Counterpart with J.K. Simmons on Starz.
Oh, you were telling me about this.
Oh, it's fucking great, man.
Yeah, this is like the parallel world where he's like two different guys,
right?
Yeah,
so basically the plot is like 30 years ago in Berlin or something. There was some experiment and basically a second Earth was created. Now, everything that happened up until that point is the same. But when you split it off, like there's two of you now, and let's say one version of you like stubbed his toe and was late for a meeting or whatever.
It's the sliding doors
thing.
Yes,
correct. Yeah. So one of the J.K. Simmons characters is like kind of a pussy, like, you know, really nice guy, whatever.
Yeah.
And the other one is this like badass, you know, and it's like, how did this happen?
Right.
They both have the same wife because they met the wife before, and both of them are different. But they both work for the government entity that like controls the bridge between the two worlds.
Oh my God! So they're aware that they
are now. They aren't at the beginning of the series.
Okay.
Because one of them works like in this little fucking, like he's just held back from knowing anything, and the other one's like a badass agent who like knows everything.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
But what's interesting is the show treats them as like two nations. So there's a lot of like political intrigue between like, okay, we can't make this deal with them. You know, it's like, it's a lot of foreign policy type shit.
That's good.
It's really fucking good. Dude.
I would not have thought of that angle for the whole like multiverse kind of idea.
Oh, it's like the biggest angle because they're always like, okay, well, we've made a deal with them,
right?
But we can't send people over there now. Like right now in the episode I'm in, the crossing is closed, like the border is closed. So if you were in the other zone, like doing a mission or whatever, you're stuck there.
We need a wall.
Right, yeah.
Between the universes.
But it's done in a way that's not so like heavy-handed. You know what I mean? And both sides, like, okay, so it starts with like one side thinks that the other side like caused this virus to happen because one world was infected with this like virus.
Okay.
So like at first you're kind of like, okay, well, I'm going to consider them like the bad side because they're like after us. Because you feel like normal nice guy J.K. Simmons is like in our world.
Right.
But the more you watch it, the more you're like, well, I think both of these sides probably have a point. They're both kind of fuckers. Everyone's a fucker.
Yeah. Universe one first.
Right. Yeah.
I'm a universist.
Oh yeah, our Berlin first. But no, this is in the last few years one of the best shows. So and it was funny because it was like a couple weeks ago I was like, oh, it's coming back, you know. But yeah, I would highly suggest people watch this.
You were trying to talk me into watching two shows at the time when you first started talking about this.
And that was probably Dark and Counterpart.
No, Dark I watched immediately.
Okay. Yeah, smart move.
Yeah. Counterpart and Man in the High Castle.
Okay.
So I actually fused the two. And so I was a little disappointed by about episode 4 or 5 when I was like,
wait a minute,
fucking hell, no J.K. Simmons. God damn it.
And him in this, like, there's scenes where he interacts with himself.
Right.
And he's so good. He's just great.
Yep.
He really is.
I mean, that's the only way you can make a scene better is where take one J.K. Simmons and make it two.
And he gets to play like the asshole J.K. Simmons.
Yeah.
And like the really reserved J.K. Simmons.
Stay on my tempo.
And he's so good at both parts.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it doesn't feel like the same character when you're watching it. You have to see this. You really do.
Right. Oh, he's one of my favorite actors that's working currently.
I would agree. 100%.
So... what else did you have anything else for home show?
No, not particularly. I think I'm ready for theater viewing.
All right. So do you want to start with the Mule?
We could do that, or I can get through this World War I one fast.
Oh, yeah.
All right. They Shall Not Grow Old. Saw it yesterday. There are more screenings coming on the 27th.
Yeah, I noticed they had a trailer before the Mule, and it said like
they had a trailer before.
Yeah, and it only had 2 dates on it though.
Yep. So it's the 17th and the 27th. Basically, the premise is some I should have had the name of it, but there's a World War I like society, like people who want to, save the history of World War I and preserve it or whatever. And they came to Peter Jackson saying, hey, we have all this footage. We have all these interviews with veterans, like old archival stuff.
Right.
And we want you, would you be interested in doing something? Now, Peter Jackson's like a World War I buff because his grandpa served in World War I.
Gotcha.
It's probably part of the reason he did Lord of the Rings too. He probably loved Lord of the Rings because of it.
I would assume so.
But yeah, so they gave him all this footage. They gave him all this audio, like all these recordings. It's like 100 hours of footage and 600 hours of interviews.
Oh, wow.
And he combed through it, and he made a plan to make a movie out of it, and he wanted to do something different. So the movie is literally footage from World War I, so 100-year-old footage.
Yeah.
And it's cleaned up immensely. I mean, it is fucking mind-boggling how good it looks.
Right.
Because, it used to be that stop motion looking shit, like when you see like Charlie Chaplin or something, or like old clips of sports when they just, nobody looks real. They look like,
And they look like they're moving about 2 miles an hour.
Yes. Either that or really fast because the camera was less.
Yeah, that's true.
So typically it's faster. But yeah, so he made it look completely real. And then over the top of it, there's no like historians discussing it at all.
Right.
All it is they took the 600 hours of audio interviews with the actual veterans, and it's just them telling their story.
Oh,
that's
good.
It. That's the whole movie.
Because if you had done it the other way, it becomes like a History Channel, just regular thing.
But what's crazy is like you're just watching it. And, World War I, it's like the lesser like thought of as far as like people don't ever talk about it. There's not big budget movies made about it.
Right. I mean, in society, for me personally, I've always looked at World War I as one of the, most awful things in history because of like mustard gas and just the things that they went through.
But the point is, there's no glory in it.
Yeah.
Like what was the last like Wonder Woman was like the last big budget movie to even have World War I. And I talked to people who saw it who thought it was World War II anyways.
Oh.
Because they just, So like it starts with them just talking about like, oh yeah, when I signed up and they all like wanted to sign up and fight in the war. And, I was 15 and I walked in and the guys were like, oh, you got better walk outside, do a few laps and age a few years, and then you just leave and come back in and say you were 19 and off you go to war. Nobody checked. But yeah, the funny thing about it is like the footage, cameras, like they knew what films were, but like cameras they might have never seen. Yeah. So like they're kind of just like staring at this guy turning this crank, and so it was really good. It goes all the way through like mustard gas shit, rats, fucking trench rot, the battles. They don't have footage of the actual fighting because, I mean, what are you going to do? Like send the cameraman through no man's land to get to the...
Yep.
But really good. I'd give the movie itself like a B+. Just because, I don't know, it's not like exciting. It's just you're learning shit and it's fascinating.
Right.
And then after the movie, they did a half hour of just Peter Jackson telling you how he made the movie. Which was honestly like really fucking interesting.
That's crazy. It's like you get the special features with the movie.
Yep, you do. And it's funny because he's like, just one example. You realize how much money this guy is worth because he's like, we wanted to, because that was the other thing too. The audio in the movie they had to remake. So if you saw like a person talk, like they brought in a lip sync like specialist who could tell you what they were saying.
Yeah.
And then they brought in a voice actor, whatever. All the sound of like the different weapons and shit was all redone. And he's explaining how they did that. And he's like, oh, I've got some World War I artillery, as one does. Like, and then they're like, yeah, and we wanted to get the colors right. So I have like every type of uniform from World War I.
Wow.
I mean, he's got the dude is just, he's got everything in New Zealand at his crib.
What a crazy,
or wherever
what a crazy,
some of that Lord of the Rings money, man.
Crazy New Zealander.
But yeah, they went all out. I mean, he went to all these places, found like actual spots that were in the footage, took thousands of pictures to make sure the color grading was all correct.
Right.
And it's crazy how some of the spots that they show the pictures and it's like, it looks like the same fucking place.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre. But yeah, if you get a chance to see that on the 27th, go, because I don't know if you're going to want to buy whatever comes with the special features, but he has a nice intro. The post credits, I'm glad we stayed.
There's a post credits.
That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
The special features. So before he comes on and he's like, this is why I made the movie. If you want to stay afterwards, I've got a half hour. I'll tell you how we did it, whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, it was really good. Like the overall experience was like A- maybe, but the movie itself like B+.
Okay.
I don't know. I like documentaries, but it's easier when they have more narrative structure, which is not what the point of this was.
Right.
But it was unlike anything I've ever seen.
Okay.
So for that, it gets a bonus. But
cool.
But yeah, highly recommended.
Sweet.
Fathom Events, folks. Look up Fathom Events. They're awesome, by the way.
Production company?
No, they're the ones who do, like they did the Transformers one that we went and saw. They just do random, screenings of old films or whatever. But yeah, they're a good company. I like them bringing shit around.
Cool. Very cool.
But yeah, the Mule.
Yeah.
You want to go there?
Yeah, let's go to the Mule. Ding, ding, ding. Round 1.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, okay. Well, this is sad because we know that the ends with us giving each other a hug because we both hated Aquaman, right?
Yes, I guess. I guess that's the case.
So the Mule,
just like a DC movie, we already know the ending.
I'm gonna let you go ahead. Just you start with the Mule.
All right. So the Mule, it stars Clint Eastwood. He directed it. He also produced this movie.
No, just Clint Eastwood.
Well, I'm just
No big deal. It's just Clint.
at
All right,
this
I'll
point.
let you continue.
At this point, it
Still
is
great.
He's still charming. He's still charming.
He
I'm
is.
going to give him that. But so yeah, he's an old man. He's very adrift from his family. Things aren't going so well for him. His house gets foreclosed on, and guy's kind of like, hey man, I know some people who Clint Eastwood's like, I got this, perfect driving record. I've been to 41 out of the 50 states. Never got a ticket. No tickets. Never pulled over. Nothing. And the guy's like, hey man, I know some people who pay you really good, serious money for, just driving state to state. Well, boom, turns out that it's, being a drug mule.
Right.
And that sort of complicates his life, but also makes certain things better because, money. So that's kind of the movie. Bradley Cooper is the cop that's trying to catch him.
Him and
Lawrence
Fishburne and what's his name from Ant-Man, Hispanic dude,
Michael Pena.
Michael Pena.
Yeah, I like him. He
was like normal. He was serious in this.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
That's the thing is like you're like shocked that he was normal in this.
I know.
I've seen him in a bunch of other stuff where this is just him.
Okay.
Him
his
playing the Luis character is
Yeah.
actually atypical.
Okay, well that's what stands out for me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I can't help it.
Right. But I mean, my thoughts on the movie. It starts out rather boring. Clint Eastwood is fine. He gives he's charming, but the dialogue at the beginning is a little on the nose. There are things like, he's never been there for the family. Like that's basically a line ripped right out of the movie. So those are kind of my gripes early on, but there's a point in which he finally discovers that it's drugs that he's taking.
That's where we have our first disagreement.
Okay.
Like he knows it's drugs. He doesn't
is
take
he-
any culpability for it until that moment when he actually looks. Like he doesn't think he's carrying he can't be that fucking dumb.
But see, that's the thing is that's the picture I got because he keeps on asking, "What's in the bag?" Well, don't worry about it. They
Well,
keep
he
on
knows
telling
it's
him.
wrong. Let's just put it that way.
He knows it's wrong, but he doesn't. It's just strange to me. It's like you have two options. It's either like military arms or drugs.
Sure,
like those are like the two options you have. So it's very strange to me that you had a 50-50 shot and it was one of those two.
Yeah, but he did it. He continued to do it.
He
no
did.
questions asked.
But
it's not like it was like.
My point being, that's when the movie picked up for me and it started becoming a little bit more interesting because the tension was introduced.
Okay.
I would say that this is a strange movie in that the structure is a little weird because Act 1 lasts probably longer than 45 minutes.
Sure.
It's probably about 45 minutes before
could be right, yeah.
So in that regard, that's why the beginning feels so long is most Act 1s are 25 to 30 minutes usually. So that's why I found it boring. It became better. There were still some parts that were a little contrived. It's not a Clint Eastwood classic.
No, it is not. That we agree on.
I didn't see the Jersey Boys one.
Yeah, but that wasn't like, I'm putting this, like when I'm seeing this, I'm comparing it to fucking the main three. I'm comparing it to our Unforgiven, $1 Million Baby, Gran Torino. Like that's the era to me.
Right.
That's the old Clint Eastwood
Right.
directed, Clint Eastwood stars as.
Right.
Good ensemble cast.
Right.
Not even close to any of those three.
Right. I would compare it to, because another modern one that he did was Sully.
Sure.
And I would say that this is probably better than Sully.
I would agree. It's got more like interesting shit going
But it's
on.
not like...
But I didn't hate Sully, though. I thought Sully was okay.
Yeah, I thought Sully was okay. I also think that this is okay.
Okay.
But there are points in which there are just better scenes in this overall than Sully, I found. I found Sully to be boring. Fine, but boring. This was also boring, but it became more interesting. That's my overall thought. What about you?
I would give this a B+.
I knew you were going with the plus.
I love Clint Eastwood, first of all. So any scene where he's like calling people dykes or, having fun with the Mexicans, like being, the old racist uncle type character.
That got the biggest laugh in the theater.
The dyke one was funny.
Because she's like, we're dykes on bikes. And he's like, all right, see you later, dykes. And it got a huge laugh.
Well, and his delivery is just, it's funny because it's Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
I feel like if anyone else did it, you'd be like, okay, well, this is a little odd, but there's something about the way he can do it.
He's got a wry delivery on his humor, which really sells it, because there's a level of like, he knows he's not supposed to say it, which is why he's saying it.
Right.
Like the character knows that. But also, he's not being judgmental, which is why it works.
Yeah, I don't know if he always knows. Like the scene where he helps with the tire, without getting into spoilers, where he stops when the couple has the flat tire. Did you go to the bathroom?
I went to the bathroom at that point.
You fucking dummy.
I did. I couldn't hold it, man.
Oh my God.
And that must have been like right near the tail end of Act 1, because I was like, all right, this is taking forever.
No, this was when, let's just get into spoilers. What's your grade? You didn't give it a grade.
I'm going to give it a C+.
Okay, we're in spoilers.
Okay.
Basically, he's got the Hispanic dude who's now going to follow him.
Yeah.
And basically like tells him like no stops, can't do anything.
Yeah.
You just have to follow the fucking trail.
Yeah.
And he sees a couple that's like got a flat tire, black couple.
Yeah.
And he pulls over and stops to help them.
Okay.
And they're like, oh, thank you so much, sir, or whatever. And he's like, oh, I always, I like to help the Negroes out once in a while. And they look at him and they're like, we don't go by Negroes. And he looks, I mean, he's not trying to be an asshole,
right.
but he's like, all right, they're like, blacks would be better. And he's like, all right, shit, fine.
Yeah.
But it was just one of those things where it's like, and it got a huge laugh. And it's funny that he gets away with this.
Right. Well, it kind of makes sense in that in this movie, he is so frail in this.
Yes, he is.
This is I almost feel bad giving this a wishy-washy review, because you're like, God, you are on your deathbed, aren't you?
He's not, though. I mean, he's playing a character that's also purposely like, the idea is it's this frail old like man that would be, and I mean, shit, he can still direct a scene. He put together a hell of a fucking movie. So in my opinion, it was a really good movie.
I mean,
it's not as good as I had hoped it would be.
Right.
But.
I mean, like I said, my problems are with sort of like the structure, because I'm big on structure.
Okay.
And like I said, the first act is just too long, and the dialogue is a little too on the nose with a lot of the people, the way they talk about him. I really liked the dialogue from the Mexican gang members. And
that was some of my favorite stuff. Whenever he'd pull the truck in to like have the quick meeting where he'd get the drugs and shit.
Yes, they were my favorite. They were my favorite scenes. Period.
Yeah, they were good.
I found that Bradley Cooper's inclusion is almost unnecessary, because I mean, he has a nice little scene. He has a couple nice little scenes with Clint, but overall, like, I'm just like, this is Clint's journey, and we didn't really need to see the cop that caught him.
You don't care about like the Lawrence Fishburne, like, all right, let's get him, boys. What are you going to do to get him?
They just halt the interesting part of the story.
I don't know.
They kill a lot of the momentum.
I liked it because I thought it ramped up the tension a little bit. Like, it gave you someone, like, you're not.
The nice thing about it is that you know how close the cops are to catching
exactly,
him.
Yes.
But the characters in those scenes are not interesting, and there's not much tension for them.
It is funny though too, Lawrence Fishburne. This is such a Lawrence Fishburne role.
Yep.
Like, he might as well be Perry White.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I like Lawrence Fishburne. So
I mean, I looked at the Rotten Tomatoes score for this, 60% right now.
Yeah, that's some bullshit. I'm sorry.
I don't know what's going on there. I mean, maybe it is a political thing.
It is.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm like, I can understand why somebody would be bored with this. And I also, I do think, and you might not like this, but I looked at some of the Hispanic representation in this movie.
Okay.
And I'm not saying I necessarily had a problem with it, but I noted it in my head that we really only had one Hispanic character that wasn't either like a farmhand or a gangster. Now, the setting allows for a lot of them to be gangsters, which is why a lot of that goes, you get a pass on that. But then there's, the guys that he works with as a florist. But then there's Michael Pena is the only Hispanic character
Sure, but
So I'm not saying it bothered me. I'm just saying maybe that's why critics had such a problem
well,
with
if it is, that's stupid. Because
Right.
guess what? 90-year-old Mule Clint Eastwood is not hanging out with a bunch of Hispanic other old guys.
Right, and it's the setting of the movie. So, I mean, it's...
Just as an example, I screenshotted a blurb because I was looking for this because
Okay.
I knew this was going to happen.
Okay.
I knew that the movie would be like pretty fucking good.
Right.
And it would be like, kind of blasted. But here we go. Michael Phillips from the Chicago Tribune. The storytelling and Eastwood's own mullish nostalgic longing for an America of, by, and for guys who look like Clint Eastwood turns terrific raw material into what feels like one fib, duck, and dodge after another. Now, I'm sorry. His nostalgic longing for an America of, by, and for guys who look like Clint Eastwood. I just don't. He's longing for that.
I would like to hear him explain what he means by that, because I'm willing to hear him out.
I'm not. That's fucking clear political bullshit.
It is political, but I want to know what in the movie made him think that was what was going on, because I didn't see that.
I mean, this is a guy who, like, Gran Torino, like the themes of Gran Torino are kind of the opposite of that.
Right.
So I
mean,
don't understand. I don't know. That just it's just so fucking stupid. Like,
Well-
if you had this movie and you had a different, it wouldn't really work, because part of the movie is like he's a white, out of touch old timer
Yes.
who whatever. But like, I'm just so fucking tired of it. Like, that's not what
Right.
I read that after I saw it, and I was like, what the fuck did you just watch? Because, I mean, he's trying to, one of the Mexican characters in it, he's like trying to help out. He's
Yeah.
like, listen, Sonny,
that scene, even though I enjoyed the point of it, was so goddamn short.
oh, you thought it should have been like a bigger thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was given that was like a minute, maybe minute and a half scene.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It might have been shorter, but I kind of like that, because the whole point was like he says it and just walks away, and the guy's kind of left like, what the fuck?
Right. But I didn't get I got his reaction. It didn't feel like anything sunk in, so it almost felt like pointless. It's there to set up a later on moment between the two characters.
Okay, yeah.
But for the flow of that scene, I didn't get the emotional payoff in that scene that I had hoped for.
Right.
And so that's why that one bothered me. It's actually funny you brought that up, because that was actually their relationship started being one of my more favorite things in the movie.
Well, yeah, there was a great scene too where they're getting shaken down by this racist cop.
Yes.
And Clint Eastwood he settles down the situation.
Oh, that was okay. You reminded me. That was one of those scenes where I'm like, okay, so he's doing a couple things here that are both good and bad.
Okay.
He's admitting that there is racial bias going on in small town America.
Sure.
And I think that's good. But also at the same time, if you look at it just objectively, that cop was making a right call because they were gangsters in his town.
So what's wrong with that?
It's the idea that racial profiling is kind of problematic, and when you make it just so happens that this guy picked the right Hispanic people to question, it makes it seem like racial profiling is justified.
I mean, I don't see it necessarily that way. This was a little different because, okay, and I mean, here we go getting political on the podcast again. But I mean, you do look at crime rates in big cities, and it I'm sorry, people are going to hate me, but they're fucking higher.
Yeah.
And, 12% of the population are African American, for instance. Now, what in comparison, if you're pulling over black people and white people in Chicago, you're probably going to get more hits by percentage of people you pull over. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if I really see that. He was being wrong because that was purely the reason he was fucking with them, right? It wasn't like
they didn't do anything.
It wasn't like he was navigating an area where drugs are prevalent.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I didn't have a problem with that.
Wait, you didn't have a problem with it because
no, I didn't have a problem with him doing that in the movie. You're trying to catch him in a catch-22 where it's he's saying that the racial profiling is justified because the Mexicans were drug dealers, and I'm saying No, because whether like they didn't have any reasonable cause whatsoever.
Right.
So I'm saying
just
that
saying
your point is moot. It doesn't make any sense.
That's sort of what I'm saying is like it does both at the same time.
Yeah.
Because it makes it look bad, and also it's just coincidentally the cop made the right call. So it's good and bad at the same time. So it's kind of a wash for me, is what I'm saying. Like, you know,
oh, you were just too liberal, man.
I'm just
You're
saying,
just way too liberal. That's I'm sorry, but that is such garbage. So you can't have a movie. Like, if they were white, you wouldn't have a problem with this, but they wouldn't be the message. But it's like, you can't have a movie where, like, yeah, sure, the guys are being racially profiled, but they're also criminals. I mean, that fucking happens, right?
Right.
So, like,
but it sends a weird message.
I don't think so.
Is all I'm saying.
My pure message in this was, these guys don't deserve to be being harassed. They were eating barbecue. Now, are they fuckers, and does Clint have to get them out of a situation? Sure, but this cop has no reason to believe that. They're sitting at a Mexican place, a barbecue place.
Yeah, well, that's my point. Is the cop has no reason to be doing this.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, so...
And as far as I could tell in the scene, too, it's not like there's like a Mexican gang in the town that the cop's working in. It's just he never sees Mexican people. Yeah. So that was where it's a little different than what I think you're talking about, where it's like, okay, if they know there's a criminal element in the projects surrounding Detroit or Chicago or something, and they, are going to randomly, pick people to fucking search. Right. It turns it into a totally different conversation, which is not what this was. So
we'll see it different ways. That's fine. It's not that big of a deal. It didn't really bother me at the time. I was just like, it's coincidental, And
here you got Clint Eastwood trying to have a nice scene about, hey, these asshole cops fucking with this Mexican guy. Right. And you got to find the negative in it, Alex.
Well, what I liked about that is he also had a scene later on where a Hispanic guy was pulled over. He happened to be driving the same truck that Clint Eastwood was. And he got out of his car and he was his truck. And he's like, statistically speaking, this is like one of the most dangerous 5 minutes of my life.
That was funny, that scene.
Being pulled over by a cop. And I really liked it in that the guy was like, the political message or the message of the scene was very clear. Like, people are scared of the police.
Yes. Correct.
Minorities in particular. But if you're dealing with a good police officer, it's not going to be an issue.
That was pretty good, that scene. The other thing, too, is there's some profiling going on with Clint Eastwood.
Which is why he gets away.
Yeah, nobody would think it would be Clint Eastwood.
Yes.
Now, my answer to that would be like, yeah, that's okay, because usually it's not a 90-year-old man that's driving drugs for the drug cartel. Right. So there is, this was the point I was kind of trying to get to earlier, is like, there are times when it kind of makes sense to profile to some extent based on previous experience and statistics and that sort of thing.
Yep. And I think you'd be foolish to deny that. Yeah. Because that's how humans have survived for so long. Correct. We recognize trends and we make adjustments based on trends. And that was the whole point. They even had that during when they were at the hotel. And they said, we've got a possible perp, mid-30s white male. Right. And you're like, oh, okay. So I see how this is.
And he's like an aggressive asshole guy. Yeah.
Yep. And so, and I mean, the idea, and I saw this today, so I'm still kind of marinating on it. But even actually talking about it now, I'm actually enjoying it a little bit more because I like the angle of profiling, because Bradley Cooper is making a drive-by with Michael Pena in the car, and they're looking for guys, and they see another truck, and they see two guys who are kind of loserish. They do actually sort of look like burnouts. And he's like, yeah, they've only got like 3 grams between the two of them or whatever.
Let's let them go. Yeah, that was good.
And it's all like, there's a ton of profile. It's not the only theme. It's not even the main theme.
But you're right. It is like, and it's funny because I wasn't thinking very much about it until we just had this conversation. Yes. But it's true. I mean, it's one of the things going on in the movie. They're trying to find someone. Yep. And they're using whatever knowledge they have. Yep. Based on, we're looking for this type of guy. Yep. They don't know much.
Yep, they don't know hardly anything.
They're certainly not going with 90-year-old white guy in nice-looking, brand new truck.
Okay, so we should probably at some point start going to the other movies. But I do want to say, so the ending, pretty cool how they skipped the scene where he was held at gunpoint. That was an interesting choice.
Okay, yep.
I felt like it was kind of like we got the picture. We didn't actually need to see that scene.
I agree.
Let's see, what else was there? When he goes back to see his wife when she's dying of cancer.
Oh, that was pretty good, too.
It was pretty good. I realized that, I wasn't... At that point is when I was like, I realize now I'm not fully on board with the movie.
Because you weren't sad enough?
Because I wasn't sad enough. And so I was like, I
wasn't sad enough either. I will admit that, because his other movies have gutted me to an extent.
Yeah.
Where it's like, ooh.
Yep.
And this one was not, even like Mystic River. I don't know if you remember that with like Sean Penn and shit, Kevin Bacon or whatever. He wasn't in that one.
Okay.
Tim Robbins. Good movie.
Okay.
But yeah, he's usually nails that like emotional loss thing.
And I think it was because I don't know. I think it was because the dialogue and the structure. I do really think the structure. I think spending so much time at the beginning on just him sort of like lackadaisically, driving, drive one, drive two. It got a little self-indulgent.
No, I liked it.
I mean,
I liked when he's like singing, like the funny parts where he's singing and they've got the car bugged. And
my favorite part was the gonorrhea, got it from Maria. Now he can't pee.
And he's just a little off with the song.
Yep. That was perfect because, I don't know how many people change lyrics into dirty things, but you work in any sort of like food industry or serving industry where there's always the same songs playing every day.
Right.
People do it all the time.
What did you think of like just in general the internet like kind of fucking him over?
Oh, that was great.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting idea.
It was perfect.
And then I think the relationship with the Mexican dude was probably my favorite. As far as, and I want to say this has nothing to do with the movie, but that Thaisa Farmiga from The Nun, who plays his granddaughter in this, I can't handle how distracting it is. That she looks and sounds exactly like Vera Farmiga from The Conjuring and Bates Motel. I just can't. I can't. Like when I listen to her talk, I'm like, oh, I'm just looking for it to sound like her.
Right. I think.
But she's good.
She's fine.
Pretty good.
She's fine. The family is very thin. Like
in general.
That's why I think that's why you don't feel much when he goes to see his wife.
Yeah, I would agree.
But let's go on to your favorite movie of the week.
No, The Mule was my favorite.
Okay.
Nice try though. But I did like it.
The Mortal Engines.
Yes,
ding ding ding. Round 2.
I liked this.
I fucking hated this.
So I guess I'll go first on this one. And then you can just, piece by piece destroy my argument here. But yeah, I thought it was fun. I liked some of the world building elements of it. Like I enjoyed the concept of like basically the plot being there was sort of a nuclear holocaust type deal, and all these different cities are kind of fucked. One of them, or somehow they became like, and it's funny because this was one of my problems with the movie, the fact that they don't really give us the details we need as to how
the cities were created.
Yes, exactly.
Or why people live on them.
That's fine. That's for future installments that'll never get.
That we'll never get because
I don't know. China might like this.
This flopped big time.
It did, I'm sure. I haven't even looked yet, but I'm sure it was like I think it 8 million.
It made like 18 million.
Okay,
like that.
Did better than I expected.
I'm gonna look it up while you're just rattling off.
Basically, there are these predator city type things, and they swallow up the smaller cities. It's some sort of what do they call it? Like social or something? Darwinism.
Municipal
Darwinism. So the big eat the small, and there's a character who kind of runs London, which is the biggest moving city in the movie. And there's a past between him and the main character, who is this girl, forget her name, played by Hera Hilmar. I thought she was pretty good.
Okay.
They have a past, and I don't want to give away too much more of the movie, but it's a fantasy sci-fi Star Warsian ripoff type movie is what it is.
Yes.
I thought it was fun. I thought it had good special effects. I really liked a specific character in it. I liked that Shrike character, the robotic android / fucking alien type fucker, the one that was created.
Shrike.
Yeah, he was the one who
I thought
owned
it
her.
was. I thought it was Strike.
No, I don't think it is.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I don't think it is. The nerds would know, Alex. You can probably check while you're Googling right now. You can probably find out what the nerds say.
What the nerds say.
But yeah, I thought the love story, usually in a movie like this, I'm just like, oh, I hate it. I hated the guy in this, but I thought the love story wasn't like overbearingly shittily done. Or
you're right.
anything.
It was Shrike.
That's what I thought.
Their
See?
accents sounded like Strike.
Well,
But
they're
anyways,
like New Zealand or something, or British or whatever. There's like an anti-Western, kind of one of those. Like, I'm into the metaphorical sci-fi fantasy shit where you're trying to relate it to the real world in a creative way, and I thought it did that.
7.5 million.
I thought it was
the
like
weekend.
that's what I thought. That was a guess. Do I get a prize for that? I was at 8. I guessed 8.
I thought. Okay.
No,
Anyways.
I guessed 8. You said 18. I just said 8.
Okay.
It's on tape, Alex.
It's on tape.
It's on tape.
This is true. I'm going to edit it so you say 18.
Yes,
You just
18.
You just said
Oh,
18.
you're going to cut. Oh, that's dirty. But yeah, but all that being said, it's not a good movie, but I liked it.
Yeah, I'm glad that you admit it's not good.
It's not a good movie. It's got a horrible script. One of the most unbelievably weird, odd scripts I've seen in a while, just because there are so many times in it where I'm like, and we talked about this for Aquaman, I think, or something recently, where it's like, I feel like if someone just would have handed me that script, there's a few things in here that I could fix with like the strike of a pen, it's fixed.
It's like this movie was made up as it was going. They're like, we're almost into the third act. Here's a new place that you know nothing about that's going to establish a conflict that you are not interested in at all. And here's
I don't care
this
about
movie
that,
is
though.
Stupid.
No, I liked it. It's not stupid.
It's stupid.
There's stupid
It is
points.
cliche.
It's cliche.
It has a horrible structure.
I like the structure.
Okay, so Shakespeare often said, like, you want to start out, he doesn't say action scene, but I'm going to use action scene. He says you want to start out with like a form of action to get the audience involved in your story.
This movie does that?
It does it.
Okay.
The problem is, though, is that there's something that goes along with action that you need at the beginning of the movie, which is a standard sort of like this is a standard hero's journey kind of thing.
Yes, 100%.
And so the hero's journey, there's something called the hero circle or whatever journey.
Sure. Yeah,
and
Joseph Campbell. Sure.
Yeah, Joseph Campbell. Yeah. So you're supposed to, at the beginning of the movie, set up the daily life of this character.
Yes.
The main character, we don't have any idea who she is, where she came from, what she wants, what her daily life looks like, what her goals are.
Don't care.
There's nothing. She just does something in the middle, in like 15, 20 minutes into the movie, and you're like, okay. Don't know any. Main character, the Newt Scamander wannabe.
Okay, that guy I didn't like.
He's a fucking dick. He's not even a dick. There's nothing to him. There's nothing to him. You know what we learn about him? We learn before he gets to his stupid job and he spits out more. This movie is filled with exposition.
Yeah,
this is just scene after scene of exposition.
The beginning is The beginning, it's not done. There's points. See, this is where it's weird because typically I know that I hate that.
Yeah.
This one though, like a lot of the exposition, while it's like they start telling the story, and then they go back and you get to see it.
Yeah.
Whereas like Aquaman, we talked about this in the spoiler-free one. They do that. But there's nothing interesting going on.
The problem with the Aquaman ones is that it's exposition in that I remember when this happened and then boom, takes you to that point.
Yeah.
And then that person in the flashback actually gives you exposition within the exposition.
Right. That's what I'm talking about.
That's the real problem with that. This is like what you're saying is it's exposition, but they kind of tell you and they kind of show you.
They show you a lot.
They show you in one of them. In the other one, they show you while telling you.
One of them, and it's funny because this one, again, I dug through some reviews after I saw the movie, and it seemed to me that the thing that critics didn't like about this was probably the thing I liked the most as far as like a story thread was that Shrike character and her as a little girl.
Yep.
Yeah, he's the coolest character in the movie.
He's got a cool design. He's got an interesting idea.
Right.
His maybe not introductory scene, but the very end of his introductory scene is fucking fantastic. I'll save it for spoilers.
Okay.
But this movie is full of some of the most cliche lines I've ever heard.
Cliche lines, dumb characters. Like, unbelievably, I always hate when there's characters that it's like, okay, you would have to be a dumbass.
There's
distractingly dumb.
There's a couple things in this that happen that break the movie near the end. But like I said, there are characters introduced in the third act or a later part of the second act, and then you're supposed to like care. Like they're like, oh gosh, that person's air blimp kind of went down for a little while. Boy, I really care about that character that I don't know the name of that has personality blah. This is bullshit. This movie
you care
sucks.
About the plight of the group.
No, I don't.
I did.
I don't give a shit.
I was into it.
Because at that point, I realized it was this giant Star Wars ripoff. It's just the biggest.
Yeah, but Star Wars is a ripoff too. I mean, they're all ripoffs.
It becomes, but this is bad. You know what I'm talking about. And we'll say it. We'll save it for spoilers.
Oh, yeah.
But
there's a couple things at the end that becomes are terribly.
This becomes the Death Star trench.
Yes, it does. It does.
It's bad.
Yeah, that was fine.
But the beginning is particularly awful because I don't learn anything about any of the characters. I don't learn, like, what's his name?
Hugo Weaving?
Hugo Weaving. His daughter. Why is she even in this?
Oh, she was terrible. Yeah.
She has no point.
Her and the guy, the shitty guy. Yeah. That was all. Whenever they went back to them, I'm like, ooh, they should have just cut all of this. Yeah.
All of it.
Right.
And then there's like
but
that.
The problem is this is where you get into that nerdy bullshit realm where it's like they're they think they're building something for like future, like they need to have all this stuff in here to build off of eventually. So they've got a series of books. There's 4 books.
Yeah.
You can't cut if that's an important character down the road. You can come up with a creative way of doing that. But
point being is always focus on the movie that you're making.
It's true.
Now.
No, that's a good point.
Don't get ahead of yourself.
And I can't wait to purchase this and watch it again. I'm going to give this more money.
This is
Alex,
this
I'm
is the
gonna give
movie
this
that you turn
more
on.
money.
This is the movie that you turn on Netflix and you turn off after 15 minutes because you realize there was a reason you didn't see it in theaters.
We talked about TBS movies and shit, like Sci-Fi Channel type cable watches.
Yeah.
That's what this is. People are going to turn this fucker on and just be like, "Oh, what's this?" And then they're not going to watch the whole thing in its entirety, and they're going to be like, "Oh, this is kind of fun. I want to see this." And then they're going to watch it in entirety and be like, "Oh, this is really fucking broken in a lot of ways."
This is why I didn't. There's a reason I didn't see this in theaters. Is what they're going to say to themselves at the end of it.
I'm glad I saw it in theaters.
If they stick around to the end,
here's the thing. In theaters.
This is made for 12, 13, 14-year-old boys
and 32-year-olds named Jackson,
or people who, like Jackson, are willing to suspend their desire for quality because they like a concept.
It's something. Well, sure. Yeah. No, I respect the fact that, like, okay, this is first of all, I want to explain. I'm like a Star Wars guy. That's what got me interested in movies.
Yep.
This is the kind of shit that when done well, I really, really, really enjoy.
And I want to piggyback off that real quick. Yes, I'm a Star Wars guy. I'm a big fantasy, Star Wars, all that shit. World building is some of the coolest shit if you can do it well. Yeah. This does a terrible job.
Really neat stuff, though.
There are cool visuals.
There's some neat ideas and neat stuff.
There's neat ideas, but they're never introduced in interesting ways, and there are too many of them. So it feels like like I said, it feels like the script is just being written on the spot. It's like, oh, hey, here's another thing.
I can understand that. Gripe.
Oh, let's never go to the South. Why don't we go to the South? Why are they different people there? Never an answer.
You don't necessarily always learn that in the first movie though. You know what I'm saying?
But then why is it there? Because you want to make
Because
your world seem big.
It's something
and you want
to bookmark later in your fucking mind.
It's to pad the
like
runtime.
maybe in one of the books. I haven't read these. Maybe I will.
You imagine if Luke Skywalker was taken to an area that had nothing to do with any of the plot, and then another random character that's being introduced in the midpoint of the second act comes in to save Luke for no reason, so Luke doesn't have to do anything on his own. And there's no reason for Luke to be in the movie whatsoever. Like, this movie
hold on, though. So who do you think that happened with? The guy or the girl?
The girl.
The girl.
The girl gets saved about halfway through the movie at some point by a character that has the loosest, stupidest, like...
She's like the Han Solo character.
She's kind of like the Han Solo, and then she becomes kind of like the Obi-Wan later.
Yeah, well, whatever.
But she's introduced so
she
that... She
sucked, too.
Yeah, she's a terrible character. Yeah. Her and all of her band of misfits are terrible.
As a group, they're fine.
Terrible.
I don't have a problem.
Okay. Also, I'm big on steampunk, and I hated this steampunk.
Oh, you didn't like the design?
I liked some of the designs of the actual like moving cities, but like when they got into like people's houses or people's costumes, their costumes and houses were really lackluster. It was just kind of like, here's dirty. It's just dirty.
I liked like the floating city. And
that one was the best, but I'm also like, dude, I've seen this on DeviantArt a million times. Like, yeah, cool. It's an idea that's been done to death. What are you offering different? Nothing. You're offering nothing.
You can't be this obsessed with things being different, and your favorite thing to do is go see Marvel movies 4 times a year that are exactly the same as each other.
I don't think that they're all exactly.
Okay, not exactly, but it's the same fucking beats. It's the goofy, you'll get your random one that's different in tone. Sure.
No,
but hold on. But you can't sit here and bash things for not being unique at this point and enjoy those movies immensely. Like, I don't that's think hypocritical.
I don't think that that's true.
Oh,
I don't think that that's true, because there's enough variation there. And I call the Marvel movies on when they become cookie cutter and bland, because you can have like we said last week or on our special episode, you can do cookie cutter storytelling fine. Sure. This movie can do cookie cutter fine. I'm not opposed to floating cities. When I saw the trailer for Elysium, I wasn't like, oh, Metropolis did it.
Yeah, but Elysium's really not.
I haven't seen Elysium.
Interesting. Or
I haven't seen
good.
Elysium.
Like Elysium, better script, film than this. Not as fun to watch.
Okay,
not as enjoyable to me.
I would bet
$1 million that you like it better.
Okay.
But I think I watched it and I was bored out of my fucking mind.
Yeah, I wanted to leave this movie.
If
I hadn't left the Meg, I would have left this one.
Oh, because you can't have 2 in 1 year.
I couldn't
January
do it.
It resets.
Yep. You get one.
I haven't left a single movie, folks. Even The Nun.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I stayed through.
That's crazy. But my point being is that you can always do cookie cutter, and that's fine. But you have to offer at least a little bit new.
Main character's great.
No, she's not.
I loved her.
I
was rooting for her heavily.
I want to go through the cliche lines, and these are
we
only
just
the ones
in spoilers, by the way?
Well,
Fuck it. Can we just spoil this movie?
Okay, grade. What's your grade?
Can I curve this, or do I have to give my objective grade?
Objective grade. Can't curve it. What are you talking about? Curve it.
I'm gonna give it an objective grade of a C-.
Okay.
And I'm gonna give it my enjoyment, like good time at the theater grade
B?
of A+.
Oh my!
I'm just kidding.
God.
B, like a B. Yeah.
Okay.
I was sitting there like you, I'm sure. I was sitting there like shaking my head because I was thinking to myself like, this could be amazing. Like, there's no reason why this can't be really fucking amazing.
Yeah.
But it's not, and it's a shame that it's not.
Yeah.
But no, like,
I just realized I didn't care during any of the action scenes.
I cared about her. She was the main girl character. I actually, like, to give it a plus, I have never heard of her. I've never seen that actress, but like, they crafted like a cool, badass, like, character that I was interested in learning more about. That to me was well done.
Okay.
Everyone else, and Hugo Weaving just eats up he chews on the.
He was Hugo Weaving.
Yes, exactly, and he does it well. is, you know.
The problem is that he has a shitty movie around him this time. So
Yeah.
the Hugo Weaving effect
I
had
like
no
the movie.
effect on me.
The movie-
This was an F.
Okay,
It wasn't.
that's
It
fine.
wasn't. It wasn't an F when it started. It was like a D.
Okay.
But then the final act happened, and boom, you're done.
F.
You rip off Star Wars like that, you're done.
Oh my
You're
God, dude.
done.
Star Wars ripped off John Carter in almost every imaginable way. It was just never put on screen.
Okay, well, let me
it's
ask
a big rip off of John
But
Carter.
the point is
and
that John
everything
Carter,
else, and fucking Flash Gordon, and everything else it ripped off.
But it's like everything else. You get there first. It's a new medium. You get there
so if
first.
you're the first to rip it off, you're good in the new medium.
in a new medium, yeah, that tends to be the rules.
I guess that's okay. I don't know. Like, you're right to the extent that, like, it didn't feel like they were paying homage to Star Wars. It felt like they were like stealing it.
It felt like they got
right.
so close to a certain Star Wars scene, and then they backed away because they were like, "Oh, we can't say that line."
No, but this is based on a book, so you don't know if the book or you don't know
book
what
came out in
2000. Yeah, but I'm saying, like, you don't know, like, did they create this for the movie? Was it written differently
That's
in the
the thing
book?
is I don't know. I'm not saying
I
anything
feel like,
about
to
the
your
book.
point, if that is in the book, you need to craft it a little differently in the screenplay so it's not so blatant.
Yeah.
And
maybe not save it for your third act.
You're ripping off stuff that's like from different portions of the giant trilogy of Star Wars.
Yep.
You're ripping off some of the stuff from A New Hope. You're ripping off Empire Strikes Back. You're ripping off Return of the Jedi, all in like the last 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, it was bad. So
It was fine.
my list of bad lines. Now, keep in mind that at this point, probably 45 minutes of the movie had gone by, and somebody said something so bad that I was like, I have to start keeping track. But I missed a lot.
Okay.
That's my sad story.
Cliche.
Trust me, as you once did.
Cliche.
Oh, but that wasn't all. What do we do now?
Hold on. You can't say, what do we do now?
When it's the end of the movie? I think that's a horrible thing to put at the end of your movie.
I don't know. Whatever.
Our fleet is down.
It's like a young adult fucking sci-fi fantasy
this missed
story.
the boat. This missed the boat by like
I
15
don't care.
years.
It did.
And by about like 13 rewrites. You know, okay, I'll finish my list.
Sorry, this is just too
Our
much.
fleet is down, but we aren't.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, nice positive way of looking at things.
Your history as the guy shoots down a guy.
You're not even focusing on the worst things in the movie.
I'm not. Those are some really bad lines. That's just the bad lines. That's just the bad
That's
lines.
fine. I don't give a shit. Like, I don't fucking.
That's part of the script.
That's not the problem with the script, though. The problem with the script is the main.
It's a problem with the
fucking
script.
basically
It's a problem.
No, the problem with the script, whatever on that, you can have those, and you can still have like a neat young kid story. Whatever.
A kid shoots down a guy who he's a historian, and he goes, "Your history."
Damn right.
That was fine in the 80s. It's not fine anymore.
Oh, whatever. To have a heart, Alex, you Grinch.
Maybe
It's
if the
Christmas
movie
time.
if the movie hadn't sucked, I would have a heart.
Yeah, I liked it. Now it wasn't good, but I liked it.
Shriek. Sorry, spoilers. I want to talk about Shriek. It's the one thing I enjoyed.
All right, I'm going to open spoilers with shit I hated.
Okay.
That to me is a way bigger gripe.
Okay.
Way more nonsensical
Okay.
than anything you've brought up. Just shit that this was the shit that when it happened, I was like, how is it even fucking possible that somebody let this get into a movie?
I know what your number one is going to be.
My number one is the key in the locket.
Yep.
That's number one. So basically in the plot, there's a MacGuffin. There's this weapon that needs to be destroyed.
Death Star.
Yeah, Death Star weapon needs to be destroyed, whatever.
There's a kill switch.
There's a kill switch, and you need a key, and there's this locket that she got as a little girl from her
8
mother.
years old.
Yes.
And she's what, like 16, 17 at this time?
She might even be older.
Okay.
I don't know. But the point is, let me get to the fucking point,
Okay.
all right?
I'm just laying the scene.
She's had this the whole time, and then right when they need it, she realizes it's a locket that you can open, and
Yeah.
she opens it and sees the key.
Yeah.
Now, there is no point in the movie where she remembers having opened it and seen the symbol that's on the key.
Yeah.
There's nothing to make you believe that she ever opened this thing.
Yeah.
Now, here's the
8-year-old.
thing. The only out they have is that Shrike took it from her and had it this whole time. But she did have it, like, I feel like you would need that to happen, like, as soon as she left with the locket.
Yeah.
You would open that thing.
Yeah.
You would know it was a locket.
Also, she was a kid by herself before Shriek.
That's my point. So he didn't. It's not like he came across her right when she escaped the danger she was in and scooped her up. Like, she had time to know this.
Yeah.
So that's
She's
fucked.
out in the wilderness with no entertainment except this damn locket in her hands.
All right, and she never opens it. Anyway, there's a scene where the ship is tethered to the bigger ship, and like they're trying to take off. Hugo Weaving is trying to take off, and the pilot, he's like,
"Oh,
we're
we
tethered.
must be tethered."
Yeah, and he doesn't land the ship to untether.
He's just
he
kinda like,
tries
he's
as
like,
hard as he
well,
can to
let's-
fly
yep,
around and get
yep.
away. Yeah, that I was reading. I'm like, or watching, and I'm like, there's no fuck. How the fuck did this get in there? There is the exposition at the beginning, like I was talking about. I thought it was kind of creatively done with her backstory as the movie went on. But at the beginning, like, he's the historian of like London and the museum and shit. Terrible. I was watching that thinking it was terrible.
Minions.
Minions make an appearance, which distracts you and takes you out of this. You're not at this movie to be reminded that you're in our world. You're supposed to feel like it's an escape from the Minions.
In prepping for this, we were talking, and Jackson's like, "I know the moment you were no longer on board," and I'm sitting here thinking, I was already not on board before that motherfucker.
Well, one of the coolest scenes in the movie, you said cut off and was all fucked up at the theater too. So that's bizarre.
Yeah, it stopped like the movie was buffering.
Because there's a neat like foot chase thing where this like chainsaws and shit, like these giant saws are trying to get him. And I was thinking during it, I'm like, this is 100 times more properly put together than the Natalie Portman episode 2 Droid
I was having
scene.
some serious prequel flashbacks during a lot of this movie.
Right, but it wasn't shot in that way where it was just like bland shot, reverse shot. None of the actors seem to even know what the fuck is around
It reminded
them.
me of like if Peter Jackson directed the prequels.
Like with the Hobbit
Because
type
it's
feel.
because in the Hobbits he went a little excessive with the action scenes, like
Sure.
they went on too long, like that barrel scene.
Yeah.
that goes on
Still
forever.
a pretty sweet fucking
it's
scene,
stupid
though.
as fuck.
Oh,
though.
it's cool though.
It
It's well
goes on
done.
about 5 minutes too long. But anyways, that's what the opening action sequence was, where I was like, I'm not interested.
No, I'm not talking. Well, the opening action sequence is the chase,
Right. No,
and then
I
there's
know.
the action
I'm
sequence
just-
after that.
I'm pointing out the moment that I was no longer involved, which
All right.
was
Well,
5
either way,
minutes
he's
in.
wrong. Yeah. So
What else is wrong with this, Jackson? This wonderful movie that you enjoyed so
It's
much.
funny. I'm listing awful shit. I
Yeah.
mean, this is shit where normally I have to admit I'm done.
Yep.
I'm done.
You just really liked the concept.
I did, and I thought it looked cool. I liked the character, the main character.
I
liked
don't
the
know
idea.
why you liked her.
Oh, I thought she was great.
I don't
She's
know-
like everything I want in like my little sci-fi fantasy action hero character.
She's so bland.
No, I liked her. She had something to her.
What was her
She
arc?
had some fight.
Like, what was her arc?
Well, trusting people was a big one. I mean, her arc isn't done. It's the first fucking movie. It's not
and
supposed
the
to be
last fucking movie.
done. Well, we'll see.
I'm praying to
Well,
God.
I think this is going to be a big hit in China. It's going to save it. This is Chinese
like Aquaman?
for once. No, Aquaman's going to do fine here, which is sad. But please, Chinese, for once,
No,
be idiots and go see this fucking movie. Please do it.
I'm saying
against-
China actually is loving Aquaman. Like, they're loving
well, no,
Aquaman.
but I'm saying like that's
Yeah.
not dependent on China.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, of course they are, by the way.
Yeah.
God, we could do a whole episode about that, by the way. That would be an interesting
It's just
topic.
awful.
But yeah, let's see here. We still have... Oh, Hugo Weaving. He crashes his ship at the end. Like, fucking, you are a pancake. You
Yeah.
are fucking dead.
Yep.
And he gets up.
Yeah.
And then the big city like
The thing that's been rolling over
Yep.
small towns
Yes.
is now rolling over him.
Rolling over him.
How poetic.
Yeah, I hated that because
Yeah.
I'm like, he's fucking dead. This is stupid. See, what I hate in shit like this is when, like I said it earlier, when you see something that was probably in the script.
Yeah.
I mean, it was in the script,
Yeah.
or it was changed. Who knows? But you look at that for 1 second, you're like, okay, we can think of a better way to have him still be alive and land by the. You know what I mean?
Finds a parachute, falls.
Yeah, anything,
Yeah, anything.
anything. And that's the same with
Anything.
the locket, because the locket could be a puzzle or, so easy to just make it something where I don't have to go, okay, that's fucking dumb.
Yeah.
But and then the last one I had was, how does Shrike track her? How does he know where she is? When
Never
he's
explained.
chased? Yeah, never explained. I did think, now neat things with Shrike. I liked his little prison thing that he was in, where he's just screaming her name at all times.
A bit much where Hugo Weaving's like, hey, knock down the whole prison to let this one guy out.
Hey, you got to do it.
Stupid.
You got to get after her.
But that led to what maybe my favorite shot in the whole movie, which is the prison, which is over the ocean.
Okay, yep.
It's going down in the background, and in the foreground, it's the shore, and Shrike is just walking out of like
Pretty
these
neat.
waves.
He was neat.
And he's just walking calmly because he can breathe underwater because he's like this undead zombie, like robot.
Android robot thing.
Yeah.
And I thought that
He's
was...
Frankenstein, though.
Yeah, he is. Right.
But he's awesome because he has memories of his childhood or like being a father.
Yes.
And that-
his arc... Like the final scene with him was my favorite shot, when it's like the air city is burning,
yeah.
and they're on a bridge.
That scene went on way too long.
Oh, the bridge scene was not. I'm not talking about the whole action scene.
Okay.
But just that ending, the shot where like they're on the bridge, she's protecting the boyfriend,
Right.
Scamander guy,
Right.
Newt Scamander, and
You love him.
yeah, I thought that was great. And that plays into her arc too. Now, that's earlier in the movie than maybe you'd normally have your payoff for an arc or something, but I thought that was good. I liked that.
I thought it was stupid because I'm like, you've known him for 2 days. You don't love him. It's the same Natalie Portman Thor problem that I have of like, no fucking way. Shut the fuck up.
I thought it was introduced in a nice way. I mean, you can have feeling. Maybe she doesn't love him, like, no, she's going to marry him, but she has feelings for him. And that's her character at the beginning is very, she's very, I don't want anything to do with you.
Right.
I'm protecting myself. I'm an independent person. And she learns that she needs to trust the Asian lady and her new cohort in this operation, Newt Scamander, really succeed.
This is
the
really
story.
taxing to talk about, if I'm honest. This movie sucked. I cannot believe that you are willing to forgive so much of this movie.
Yeah, I forgot. It got a C- from me. It's not like I'm sitting here.
You forgot one of the biggest ones.
Okay, which one was that?
Luke, I am your father.
Oh yeah, there's that scene
During the Death Star battle run.
I'm not going to sit here and complain about it being unoriginal or whatever. That's just not one of my complaints.
Hold on.
That's just not one of my complaints.
There is
with
a
it.
giant death beam.
You're no, I'm going to stop you because you're misunderstanding me. I'm not saying all that stuff is original. I'm just not complaining about it.
Why would you never complain about a direct
Because everything
rip-off?
I watch is a derivative ripoff of something else. Like, okay, this one's probably more so.
Yeah.
By a mile, but whatever. I don't fucking...
It's insulting how much of a ripoff
No,
it is.
I don't disagree. I'm not insulted by it.
I get taking inspiration from great works of literature. Tons of people do it.
Sure.
The problem is that there is no unique spin on this whatsoever. I mean, it's that. I mean, there's literally like the death of the Obi-Wan character while trying to stop the Death Star.
I don't know. There was some unique shit in this. I thought that's true. The action scene at the end, true.
Yeah.
I give you that. You've got like Yavin is the wall.
Yeah.
And, they have to stop the Death Star before it gets to the wall, whatever. I agree with that. But like, the whole monster Frankenstein with his monster that he's
I'm not
creating.
saying I'm not saying
like,
the entire movie is a Star Wars ripoff, even though it kind of sort of is, because
they
it's
all are the same.
It's the very basic Rebels versus the Empire idea. But the third act is where it full on just it's Star Wars.
It looked really good though, like special effects wise. You have to at least give it that. It looked good.
I'm not. Yeah.
For $100 million movie, there's $200 million movies that don't look as good as this does.
I agree.
Because of art direction, neat stuff.
But I'm never going to be impressed by spectacle if I don't care about the characters, and I did not care about a single character.
Oh, I thought the main character was great.
I don't.
Shrike.
The problem with her is that, like I said, she shows up, and this movie is just so goddamn broken on a script level. It's unbelievable how broken it is. But like she just shows up. We don't know anything about her.
Yeah, but you learn pretty quickly.
You learn pretty quickly, but the problem is that if you're going to do something like that, you want to create an interesting, like, mysterious character. Ooh, what's her backstory?
I thought she was.
I did not feel that at all, because it's like,
yeah, but you hated the movie from the jump, apparently, because you get introduced to her in the first scene. If you think that immediately, then you hate the movie immediately.
I was born. I was
to hate this movie.
Yeah, I was born to hate this movie. I was bored with the action scene, and I was frustrated that, okay, so this girl is running around this thing. I have no idea why she's doing anything. I have no idea what this city is. I have no idea what the thing that's hunting them is. And I have no idea what's going on. And then she just shows up and tries to stab Hugo Weaving. And I'm like, I don't know anything.
The mystery, though.
I don't know anything about you. I don't know why I should care.
That's the first scene of the fucking movie. You're describing the prologue, like the opening scene of the movie.
But that's like 20 minutes in, because that first action scene lasts forever.
Should there be a crawl before the movie so there's another Star Wars?
Well, there kind of was.
Yeah, it's a narrated crawl.
Yeah.
But it didn't chill you enough, apparently.
I'm just saying it didn't. I don't know anything about Star Wars. I learned so much about Luke Skywalker at the beginning, and it made me realize the genius of Star Wars, which is you are anchored. I mean, there are lots of good characters in it, who are given good arcs and such, but you are anchored by Luke.
And he is you, which is not the case in this movie.
Yeah.
Because you can't really relate to this character because you don't know anything about her. She's obviously got a more scarred past than you do.
Right. Well,
you
could identify with her, but the problem is they tell it in the non-linear storytelling, which I actually think hurts it, because the mystery is not interesting.
That doesn't interest you.
It does.
I was interested by it.
I'd say it probably didn't interest a lot of critics, considering it's at 26%.
Yeah. Well, no, and I am not going to sit here and say that this is a good movie.
Yeah.
That's not my goal here. I can objectively say the movie has so many more problems than most movies that I watch that it's kind of unbelievable that I like this.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't hate this. There was just so much. You could tell it. They cared about what they were making. They thought it was, it was a neat little story in a fucking, fantasy world, in a well-built little bullshit fantasy world. And I enjoyed it.
I think it reminds me of, we're all going to have our own tastes. This is like your new not Star Wars. This is like your new, like, Transformers. Like, I don't understand.
I thought the first Transformers was a hell of a lot better as far as accomplishing what it was trying to do than this was. But.
Right. But I mean, it's your sci-fi fantasy series that you like that most people don't.
No, that's not true.
That has serious problems.
That's not true, though.
What?
Most people don't like Transformers.
Okay, most critics. I should have said most critics.
Yeah, well, you snobby ass critics don't represent us little people. Okay,
are you a critic?
No, I'm not in this instance. You can take that.
You can take that. A
it's
podcast discussing movies.
I'm just like 1/4 of these, hoity-toity critics.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 1/4. Yeah, I'm sure that they're from like Sci-Fi Today or something.
What it is it's personal preference taking over. I'm sure that there are probably animes that I like that might have serious problems that just my love of the art style overrides my desire for a good narrative.
Sure.
And I think that's what's going on here, is because there are serious problems, but you're willing to forgive it because you like the world enough.
Your average moviegoer, unless they're like into this sort of thing, like I am, like hugely into this sort of thing, they're not going to like this.
It kind of reminds, I mean, it's not, I wouldn't say it's probably as, actually these movies might be worse and better at the same time, but like, it reminds me of like Daredevil. Like the Ben Affleck one. And that it's like, it's a movie made for like 13 or 14-year-old kids because it's not very well thought out. It's kind of messy, but they're going to love it because it's got the stuff they like in it.
No, I don't agree with that because there was nothing interesting in that. There was no ideas there.
But 13-year-old kids loved it.
Yeah, but there's going to be people that think there's like some neat stuff in here. You know what I mean? Like Daredevil is just awful on every level. There's not a single fucking thing that you look at and go, "Oh, that's cool," in the entire movie.
I'm trying to. I haven't watched it in a year, so I actually
trust me. There isn't.
I can't remember. Anyways,
Michael Clark Duncan is Kingpin. Colin Farrell with like the Preston fucking. I can just start listing shit for you. The fight in the alley schoolyard between Elektra and Daredevil. There's
that
nothing
was really
likable.
cool, man.
But no, okay. So this, I thought, and I'm happy you didn't bring this up.
Okay.
I thought you were going to bring up John Carter during this conversation.
It's kind of like John Carter.
Okay.
I mean, I think
right,
I think John Carter is better than this, though.
John Carter is a good, well-made, well-thought-out, well-scripted, well-shot, good version of what this is. This is, please, out there, do not compare this to John Carter. Unless you're just saying, okay, they're both sci-fi fantasy movies in the same genre, because they're the same genre.
And they both flopped.
They both flopped. That's true.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, I have my problems with John Carter, but I would say John Carter is a vastly superior movie to this.
John Carter, okay, I am of the belief that John Carter would have done a lot better if it was named something else, if it was marketed differently. I don't believe that with this. This is just a bad movie that people will not like.
I think it needed somebody at the helm. Like
Peter Jackson should have just directed this, or what do you mean?
No. I mean, I'm talking about John Carter.
Okay,
it needed like a big name actor, or at least some big name actors to draw people in.
It's funny though. I was thinking about John Carter because Willem Dafoe was in the next movie we were going to talk about.
Yeah,
like, his character was way cooler in John Carter than it was in. Yeah.
Oh God. Actually, I think another problem with John Carter. And it's not a problem with this, like, it's a problem of marketing in that, like, I think people are actually kind of done with, like, the straight, sci-fi story.
Sure.
You know, very earnest sort of sci-fi. They like the Guardians kind of shit, where it's
the
sort
Guardians
of
shit or the super cerebral, realistic shit.
But that's not even like general movie going on. That's just like us film snobs who like that. They're not going to do like
you're right,
120 million.
Like Ex Machina is not going to do 100 million.
No.
What was the Natalie Portman one? The first episode.
Annihilation.
Yeah. Right.
So, I mean, I think that's why is it didn't go with like the fun, weird sci-fi angle.
Well, it's funny though, because it's like Star Wars still, I mean, I guess it's dropping, but
Star Wars is a generational thing. I think that's the big thing. And it's just ingrained in society so much.
Yeah, you're probably right. They get an unfair advantage. We'll see what Avatar does when it comes back.
That's going to be interesting. But
now, Avatar is another one. Quick.
Yeah.
There is nothing original in Avatar.
No.
Okay.
I have quite a few problems with Avatar.
Avatar's a lot better than this, clearly.
Yeah.
By miles and miles.
But
there's nothing original in it. I mean, literally every scene you could go, that is a blatant ripoff of Fern Gully.
Yep.
That is a blatant ripoff of Pocahontas. Fucking Dances with Wolves.
Last of the Mohicans.
Last of the Mohicans. I mean, it's a derivative story with nothing new. They put a different coat of paint on it, which I felt like this is what they were doing. But the problem, I guess, to your point is you're ripping off something that's maybe too new and too big. In the same genre as the movie you're making.
That's part of it. It became so blatant. Because it actually felt like there was a moment where he was going to say, like, I am your father, and they pulled back from it because they were like, a little too on the nose.
They should have just had him be her father and have
He was her father.
No, but I'm saying have that be known, like not like this
yes.
thing.
Yeah, it should not have been a revelation.
That's what I mean.
That's how you actually talking about quick
That could
fixes
fix it completely.
it does, because taking out the revelation, actually you're still going to have the Death Star v the
You have enough
rebels.
fucking revelations in the movie as
Right.
is. That's the movie is just all about
Here's another piece of exposition.
Yes.
Let me tell you another thing about my history or the history of the world.
so great.
It's just way too much exposition. It was a lot of telling, not showing. The one with Shrike.
So you've got kind of a carve out for the Shrike stuff.
Yep, it was easily. By far, I mean, it's like in a different movie. It's that much better.
Yeah, that is like I wanted more of the. When that was over, I was like, oh,
that's the movie that you make. The Shrike character finding this girl.
Yeah,
and then you just change his death to the end of the movie.
And then you to be fair, they are trying to do too much in this movie.
They are.
They could have had the Shrike movie and then moved on. At the beginning of this story, you would know the girl, which would solve one of your biggest problems. Yep. But yeah, I still enjoyed it.
That's fine. That's fine. I have come full circle on this. I was irritated that I could not wrap my head around why you liked this.
And now you're more irritated.
And now I'm just like, it doesn't matter.
Full disclosure, I told Alex he was going to hate this, and I couldn't wait.
Yeah.
Because I knew he would hate it.
Yeah.
I knew it would be fun because he would not be able to wrap his head around how I could possibly have a smile on my face walking out of it. But guess what, folks? You're not going to listen to him. You're going to listen to me. If you like this sort of thing, go see it.
I mean, it's a personal taste thing. You got to really like this stuff to forgive a lot of the stuff that happens.
Here's where I'm at, and I think I pumped this shit up more too. And I'm being honest, like, I am biased when it comes to this type of movie,
right?
Because I want more of these. I would like them to be better made than
Agreed.
this.
I
want audiences to flock to this kind of movie because I feel like, to your point, they're just not made anymore.
Right.
So.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, they are and they aren't because it's a YA sci-fi novel movie.
Yeah, but there's something different about this than, say, like Twilight or the...
Aesthetically, but it's still sort of like the chosen girl saves the world and finds her boyfriend while doing so.
Fair enough.
Which is always... It's just the girl version of the hero story.
But those are made for $10 million on shitty sets. There's nothing put into them. You know what I'm saying?
I would say, yeah, I mean, even though I found the action hollow... because I didn't care about the characters, the action at least looked nice for the most part.
It did.
I just tended not to care what was happening.
That's fine. And usually that bothers me, but I cared about the girl, so that's all. I
just really liked Shrike.
Shrek, Shriek, Sheik from Zelda.
I like all of those. All of those, all of the above.
So that's the key. You just got to somehow make it sound like that.
Yeah.
It'll be a good character.
That is the key to all characters.
Let's talk about Aquaman details.
All right.
You gave it a D-. I gave it a D.
Yeah.
It's bad. Why is it bad? Specific scenes, specific shit.
All right. So we saw this, God, it feels like forever ago now. A lot of it has left my brain.
Gee, how tough to believe that a movie such as this would leave your brain.
Yeah, no way.
That you wouldn't remember this.
Yeah, it's your brain. It's like it's a self-defense mechanism.
It's just there's nothing memorable.
No.
Nothing.
I think we did an amazing job at like tearing it down without doing spoilers.
Yeah, I would agree. That's why I don't think this needs to be long. Because there's another episode you guys can listen to.
Yeah.
Where basically you're going to get the film critique aspect. The stuff that I didn't really mind in Mortal Engines.
All right.
That I shit on in this.
I thought of a couple things. Okay, boom, right off the bat, submarine scene. He's in there, he's fighting the dudes. I hate the fact that he pushes the submarine up in the water. He's got the strength to do that shit. He's got the strength to take the pressure of the deep sea, which makes him bulletproof. But he still grabs the fucking shield to shield the bullets? What? Also, he's strong enough to push a submarine. But he's still shoving dudes with his arms and they aren't liquefying? What?
No, it's just like Superman, right?
It is. It still bothers the shit out of me.
You. See, because I can just ignore that.
It should not even be a fight. He should be walking by, flicking people with his fucking fingers, and they fly into walls. That's all he needs.
Yeah, but that's not entertaining.
I'd be entertained as fuck.
I mean, it would be different. I'll give you that.
I mean, I'm walking around and I'm seeing him go like this to people,
People are
flicking.
just flying.
Yeah.
And you know what? They have done stuff like that with Superman in the past.
Yeah.
I guess, you know.
I mean, there's a way to do it to make it entertaining. It doesn't become so much of an action scene. It just becomes a like comedy action
scene.
Yeah.
And in a movie where they're going for comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It might have fit.
Yeah. So yeah, that's one.
How about just that slow motion scene? We briefly brought it up, but there's a scene where like he has an action, like it's supposed to be one of those like he's really cool shots, and it's like it's not even like smooth slow motion. It's like really stuttered. Like
it's the old school 80s and 90s slow motion that you saw, which is they didn't shoot it at the higher frame rate, so they have less frames, which is why it looks so choppy. That's why it looked so shitty. It was like it wasn't planned.
Yeah, no, it did. Yes, you're correct. It was there was a scene like that in Predator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's just awful, just awful. I hated the fact he controlled, the bullies who pick on him.
Predator, actually, I should say.
Yeah, the Predator. Yeah. That's such a terrible title for that movie. Like, that will never be known as The Predator.
No.
But anyways, the scene where the bullies are just awful. It's just some of the most cliche, like,
Do
bully
I even
shit.
remember the bullies?
When
at the
aquarium.
aquarium.
The aquarium man.
Aquarium man. Yes, go ahead. They are awful bullies. It's like you have no it's funny because they're standard bullies.
Yeah. Well, it's like, what did they say to him? Like, your mom's dead or something like that?
Yeah, something awful, right.
And then he's just like he controls the fish then? Like, what?
Yeah, well, and they have him do this thing where he opens his eyes and they show like his crazy eyes, but then later on they explain that that's how they see in the dark. So it really has nothing to do with what he did at the beginning of the movie.
Going back to what I said about Mortal Engines, about setting up your first act is to set up sort of like the day-to-day life of the person and sort of like their, like, what's going on in their life and what sort of is untenable. What's the unsustainable situation that propels them into the plot later on in the movie? He has like nothing. Like, we don't even know what his daily life is. He just goes and shows up at his dad's at the pier. He's like, I always know where to find you. And then they go and they drink, which is like, oh, cool. So you guys are like serious alcoholics, like day drinking. All right. But,
no, they're fishermen.
But he's like, I always know where to find you. And that line insinuates, at least to me, that he hasn't seen his dad in a long time. So
where does he live? Does he live with his dad, or like what's the dynamic there?
What's going on in his life? All we know is that he, for some reason, fights people in submarines and he drinks in the morning with his dad. I don't know what his problems in his life are.
Why does he even go out and like fight? Like, why is he helping the submarine at the beginning of the movie?
We never learned that. We never learned that in
Justice
League. We didn't learn it here.
Just because he can?
Just
because that's where he can help, that nobody else can help?
Well, and that's what those scenes with Valcor or whatever, Willem Dafoe, his training montage, his training montage scenes, that's what they should have answered, is like, that should have been his motivation for why he's a hero. But there's nothing there. He just learns his powers. That's all there.
Oh, and it's so, you could not make it less interesting.
No.
Like the training shit was terribly done.
The scene where he learns about his mother's death and he's using the trident, they set up that thing that Willem Dafoe does, the whole like
spinning it,
the baton, like
he's
the
like lightsaber, fucking
and it's like, one, we don't know why he can't do it. We don't know why it's like this fucking great move. I mean, we get like it looks cool, but like what's like the strategic advantage to it? And what's the character growth that needs to happen so that he can do this move?
Nothing.
It's not
nothing.
It's like
there is none.
The crane move in Karate Kid. He needed to learn that. It was a big moment at the end. This, it was just like, now I know how to do it. I'm dumb.
That was the whole time. I'm dumb. Every line of this movie, someone needs to cut in. I'm dumb. What Black Manta?
Black Manta.
So he's set up basically as Aquaman in the sub scene at the beginning.
Yeah.
Leaves his father to die. He leaves Black Manta's father to die, which part of me was like right away, like, it's
why?
shitty. Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
But then Black Manta's out for revenge for that. The Aqua people, the Atlanteans, give him like some technology.
That was an awful scene, by the way, where he got
terrible.
the cannon.
Oh,
Why?
And then why would he turn the cannon into this fucking like it? There's
I'm
no
gonna put it in my
explanation.
helmet.
Yeah.
I'm dumb.
It makes no sense.
It's stupid.
Besides, it looks cool.
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean,
How cool did it even look? I mean, it looked okay, I guess.
In all honesty, I always thought Black Manta he's kind of a cool looking character. He's got a really unique look for comics.
Sure, I agree.
And I thought they really nailed the look. That's the thing that gets me about this is some people will say, Alex, you're such a fucking hypocrite. You love it when comics look accurate. It's like, yeah, but everything else was shit. Yeah, this looks like an Aquaman comic, but it's garbage.
You want it to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the scene where they cut to the news.
Oh
After
my
all
God, the
ships.
news scene was maybe my favorite moment in the movie because it's literally like we've talked about this before. Creed 2 had something like this where it's like you're pulled out of the movie, and this one actually was like actors.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't CNN with Wolf Blitzer or something.
Yeah. Yep.
And they're just sitting there discussing like because the Aqua people, I keep calling them, the Atlanteans, decide to throw all the garbage back at the land people
And the battleships too.
Yep. And so it's big waves, whatever, and they're having this fight, and the one guy's like, "It's the Atlanteans!" Like, and the other guy's,
there you are with your Atlantean theory again.
Yeah, you're a crazy Atlantean theory. And there's a couple things wrong with this. First of all,
thanks for taking us out of the movie.
yeah, thank you for taking us out of the movie and putting an unbelievably stupid conversation that would never be happening.
Right.
Because this would be factually known, first of all, that they were there.
And it wouldn't be a theory anymore.
Right, exactly. It's over when this happened. But the biggest problem I have is why the fuck are the Atlanteans just allowing this pollution to float around in the ocean? Like, clearly they've been able to do something about this. Like, they wouldn't just go, oh, we can just throw it all back all at once. They would like do less wavy things, and they would not have to destroy everything. And there would be they broke their movie there because it doesn't make any sense. Yeah. If they can clean the ocean, why is it a problem?
Yeah.
Like,
yep, I agree. I also think that the problem is that you introduced a interesting what should have been motivation for Orm, or call me Ocean Master.
Ocean Master.
That was
awful.
awful.
My God.
But
was that real?
What,
like,
his name, Ocean Master?
No, but like when you were watching it, like I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
You can call me Ocean Master.
Yeah.
Like, is that his villain name?
You got to pause for dramatic effect.
Is that his villain name? Is it in the comics?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. Some things work and some things don't.
They tried to make it like a title that like the ruler of all of the kingdoms of the sea had.
Okay. Well, they didn't explain that. They just had him go.
They had a line in there. It was quick.
Oh.
It was quick. It was awful, but it was
there was
quick.
another line in there that I missed about why some of the Atlanteans needed the...
yes. The racism.
Yeah, so the high elves, or whatever, the political
highborn
elites, the highborn Atlanteans, they can breathe in the air, like just
Yep.
But there's genetic differences in the classes.
Folk. The common folk can't.
You're right. That's racism.
It is.
They're created like
it is.
They literally said this group of people are better than you genetically.
Yep.
You're
they have
inferior.
A distinct advantage over you.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
See, Aquaman should be the only one who can breathe above water.
Yes, because he's of both worlds.
Which is the whole, like, they never really played with that. They didn't really play with the dichotomy.
Not at all. No.
And really what it should have been is like, there's good on both sides and there's bad on both sides. I mean, that's the wishy-washy bullshit answer, but that's what we would have gotten in a movie like this.
Yeah.
But they really, to go with that, they really should have focused on the idea of like pollution being the big thing. That's the big thing that Orm is fighting against. But nothing. It's right. Dropped in an instant.
Yeah, and don't make it so you can clean up the pollution from the ocean in like a scene. And
Well, also the real question is how did they do this? And if he can move oceans like this, then how the fuck can Aquaman take him on?
Well, yeah, why can't he just displace all the land with the ocean for like 20 minutes and drown the entire world?
Yeah.
And then it's all over.
Yep. Yeah, because we have this legitimately pretty cool scene where the tides are coming in and Aquaman's driving with his dad in the truck. And that's a legitimately pretty cool scene. And then the one thing that I think is going to happen to give him proper motivation to get involved in this story, the death of his father, doesn't happen.
Well, you need to have the ending meet up between Nicole Kidman
you
and
do.
Tamara Morrison because you set it up so you had to need it.
For this movie, you do. Problem is, though, is there's no consequences for Aquaman in this movie. He loses nothing. In fact, he has almost nothing to lose, and he gains everything at the end. He's a king. He's got a girlfriend. His mom's back. The revelation of his mom when they go to the center of the earth.
Oh my God.
Fucking unreal.
It was terrible.
Also, they have this theme about like him.
The center of the earth, too.
The center of the earth
is like a dinosaur
dinosaur planet. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Why not? I'm sure it's comic accurate because comics are fucking weird, but it's fucking dumb.
So Superman and Batman, especially Batman, of Gotham,
exist in this world.
Exists in a world where the science is wrong about like the molten core of the earth. It's not that. It's a dinosaur land where these creatures exist, and one of the Aqua people, the Atlanteans, is dressed up in a costume, a monster costume, hiding amongst the monsters.
Which reminds me, the people who are there in the trench that goes to this center of the earth. They're like these awful sea creature monster people.
Yep.
And
one of the coolest scenes in the movie, by the way.
Best scene in the whole movie visually.
Yeah, it was awesome.
The whole movie we've had this theme of don't judge until you go there. They don't judge the land people, don't judge the Atlanteans.
It's one of the main themes of the film.
It's probably the closest thing we have to a theme. But they go there, and it's exactly what they've been told. I thought he was going to show up there, and they were going to be like, oh, my liege, or something, like help him out a little bit. Now, I liked the scene that we got, but thematically, it ruins that message.
Yeah, right. I agree.
The
movie sucks.
Yeah, I hated the creature that shows up that's going to be like, you are the most unworthy I've ever seen to come here. Awful.
Well, it's like the sword and the stone type shit. Excalibur, only with none of the fun Excalibur shit.
Yep. I haven't feasted in ages. You're like the size of Brooklyn.
Yeah.
How have you not feasted in ages? You would have died. You're not.
He eats the dinosaurs. He's got to eat the dinosaurs,
but he
right?
hasn't feasted in
ages. Why are there fucking dinosaurs?
I don't know. Because it's fun. It's fun, Jackson. Okay. Hated the fact that he had like Aquaman is so dumb in this movie. He has no like hurrah, for Atlantis. No lines like that to charge into battle with. He just literally lifts his arm with his trident and goes, whoa!
Yeah, and the bad guy too. Same thing. He just screams.
It's literally, like you said, two meatheads.
Yeah, they're idiots. They're dumb, big, brutal idiots.
Yeah.
I want to go back to the racism thing.
Okay.
Because
God,
I'm shocked that you got me on this.
You're so liberal.
No, because usually that's my point. Usually, like, you're the one who notices stuff like that. And, like, earlier on in our conversation, I'm kind of like, let's pump the brakes a little bit.
Yeah.
But, like, literally, you have created a genetic difference.
Yeah.
You've excused, like, not only are there like racists in your movie who are like at the end, I mean, you kind of forgive, like you don't hold it against the highborn that they're like,
that they're just so much better than everyone.
but like you put it in your movie, like it's a like thing. It's like it's a scientific fact
It's
that the
scientific?
poor people have a genetic disadvantage. Like, this isn't like, oh, they can just pick themselves up by their bootstraps, or like
Nope.
conservative philosophy would tell you.
Yeah.
No, that's not possible. They literally can't breathe without devices.
So now I'm just feeling horrible for that one soldier who had to put his face in the toilet. You know,
Right.
he's just trying to pay his way for his kids to go to sea college.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not possible.
But it's not possible.
But
he'll never be able to breathe
and
on that land.
Who knows? How long do you have to have those suits plugged in? Like, maybe
Right.
what if they can't get to where they need to go? They can't move to where they like. What if there's the best job available is in the Sahara Desert?
Yeah.
They can't live there. Can't have that job. But Mr. Highborn,
Mr. Highborn, all
he
the
doesn't need
jobs
water
for
at
him.
all. He doesn't need water. There's no point. Like, there's nothing that makes the Highborn, like, they're basically Superman. Because
Yeah.
Superman can do everything they can do,
Yeah.
unless I'm wrong. Besides, like,
yeah.
maybe move the water and talk to the animals
yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So you've got Superman, or, like, you know, you've got, like, you know, the Bushes, Obama, like, you know, Trump, whatever. They're immune.
Yep.
From okay, well, it's fucking dumb. Genetically, it's dumb.
It's garbage. It's absolutely garbage.
I did not even think of that. See,
Yeah.
this is what we get for my liberal co-host. He points these things out to me, and once in a while, I have to agree. It's
Yeah.
tough to deny this
It's
one.
tough to fight that one. I mean, you know, I know that this is sort of like the main sort of give that you have to give the movie, but I don't really get the whole, like, all of a sudden our society was underwater and now we all learn to breathe underwater.
Well, they're the Highborn.
Well, not just the Highborn. Everybody learned to breathe
Oh
underwater.
yeah. You're right. Yeah, they don't explain that.
They're just like, we learned to do it in like
No,
20
you all
minutes.
would have died.
Yeah. After thousands of years of breeding, we finally can breathe that. We're like, what? That didn't happen. There's no evolution here.
You're making this worse.
I know. It's because this movie.
There's two things you brought up that have made this worse that I did not even think about. Because you're right. They were humans, right?
Yep.
But
Yep.
over time, evolutionary,
Yeah.
they've learned to live in Atlantis.
Yep.
Was there a genetic? I mean, there's a lot of genetic things going on.
Also,
in this.
yeah, because different branches of the original Atlanteans broke off. So now there are like crab people. Crab
Okay.
people.
All right. See, now you're working. They look pretty cool too. There
That's
were a
the
lot of cool looking things.
Cool looking
Yeah.
shit.
Well, no, but now you're bringing me back, because now it's like, oh, okay, well, you could explain that later. You can have like, okay, so maybe the Highborn were like more, they lived in a different area and they adapted differently. And then when they came in and they took over the land, like when they built or took over Atlantis,
As
just
you're
work with me
saying
here.
this,
Work with me
you're
here.
getting a smile on your face because you know this is
Well,
bullshit.
no, but it's possible that they could explain, like, oh, here's how the Highborn got that way. They're not technically, they didn't evolve together. They evolved separately from the Lowborn. And because of that advantage, they were able to kind of take over.
The way I look at it this way is that, okay, if that's the case, if they were going up to land and sort of keeping both,
They had something going on, yeah.
then they would not be as strong as the regular people, because the regular people would be going further into the ocean, getting more and more adapted to the pressures of the ocean. So they would be stronger and faster people.
Just stop it, Alex.
I'm just saying.
I had it.
There's nothing. There's nothing.
Nope.
It makes no
I
sense.
cracked the code.
Nope. There is no code.
But yeah, the movie sucked. Do we have to talk about it anymore?
No, I think we're done. This is 2 hours plus at this point before I edit it. So,
All right, well, let's think here. So this week we have Bumblebee,
yeah.
Mary Poppins,
Yep.
and Marwin.
Yay.
Yeah.
My
So
most anticipated of December. Actually, no, it was Into the Spider-Verse. This
yeah,
is my
that makes
second.
sense.
This
But
is my
no,
second.
I'm excited for that too, even though I'm getting a little concerned. Have they dropped the score on Rotten Tomatoes yet?
I don't know.
I don't believe there is one. I think it could be a
That didn't work out so well for us with the Mule.
Right.
So,
But it worked out well for me. I like the Mule a lot.
it was.
But yeah, anyways, those are the
fine.
three this week. Yeah. We will continue this conversation next week on Bored and Annoyed. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, and on YouTube. We're on YouTube as well, if that's easier. So thank you for listening.
Thanks, guys.
And have a good weekend.
Yep, bye.
Go see Mortal Engines.
Don't do it. No. Hey guys, this is Home at the Movies. I just thought I found this part during the editing process. It was an early part that we were recording before actually starting the show, and I thought it was pretty funny. So I'm just sticking this in here. So this is kind of a pre-show outtakes kind of bit. So hope you enjoy it. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Some of the script. But I want more from the world. I like the world. What can I say?
I literally laughed.
Oh, I laughed multiple times.
I could not believe how bad that script was.
Yeah, Peter Jackson co-wrote that.
Yeah, with his wife.
He was involved in writing. Oh, so he didn't want any fights at the kitchen table.
Well, no, she helped. She helped write the original Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, but this is like, we can let her have this.
Oh, you're gonna blame it. He did The Hobbit, and you're gonna blame her? Really?
Actually, you know what's funny? The Hobbit are way better made films than this, and I know you hate those, but they were so derivative, and I just was not into them at all. I liked this better than those.
This was Peter Jackson doing The Hobbit all over again, because I know that he did some second unit directing on this.
No, but there wasn't the writing in this.
It wasn't as
terrible.
Okay, the writing in this is awful, by the way.
My list of shit that's wrong with it on my notes is way longer than the shit I liked.
I mean, it's the writing is awful. The writing is awful.
I like the main character. I think she's a good actress for what she's working with. Like, I liked her character. I liked her. I didn't like the dude at all. I thought he was awful.
Yeah.
Now he's basically what's his name?
Newt Scamander.
Yes, he is. He's the same guy. Which made me happy because he wasn't the main character, so I was okay with that. But
garbage! Such a garbage movie.